Australia retained the Ashes in Sydney against a hapless and listless England, meaning that no England team, men or women, has won an Ashes match in Australia since 2017. King by name, queen by nature, the leg spin of Alana Kingy, AK, tying England in knots, all while wearing the fastest of speed dealers. It's just the tonic we need on a Monday night in Paddington. Meanwhile, the men have been arriving in Dubai in dribs and drabs ahead of their golf trip in Sri Lanka. The lads 2025 will be quite the hashtag to look back on years to come after we send 15 blokes on a circuit in Sri Lanka. Will Steve Smith be fit? Is Kuhneman going to be ready? Hey, it's on free-to-air TV for the first time in years. It has to mean something. There's a new 10-point plan to fix Indian cricket, which we'll obviously need to dissect. Does it mean that Indian cricket is now fixed? Was it broken? Must we blame the wise for everything? And what does mean something is the BBL finals kicking off tonight with several other inferior T20 tournaments on at the same time. But this is our summer, our players, our colours, our recognisable names and cities and weather patterns and monikers. Hurricanes, Sixers, Thunder, Stars. Who will take the coveted prize of winning the Big Bash in the year that the Perth Scorchers didn't? Josh Inglis is on the show from a hotel room in Dubai to tell us about Constance's post-match circuit, post-series circuit, having George Bailey in bed, and the trauma of a 6-iron for the Australian captain. Barney Ronay is on the show to apologise to Australia for comparing Sam Constance to Ray Gunn as we look ahead to England's own Indian summer, the Ashes, and the future of Ange Postecoglou. That's before us, TGC, and there's a few announcements that we're super excited to tell you about in the next few moments, but this is a bumper show as you roll through January like kingies rolling through the Poms, Pezza.
Yeah. You didn't blink while saying that. Sensational, mate.
How are you?
Yeah, thank you, mate. Very good, very good. I don't know. Fuck it. Last night my wife gave me an antihistamine tablet. It's just struggling for the old sleep there for the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And drowsy, got to say, waking up. I mean, I'm good to go. I'm ready to rock. I'm particularly fired up after that intro. So, mate, good to go. Post-India series, there's still plenty of cricket.
Hell yeah.
Bucket on bonds, women's stuff. Injury issues, Australia.
England shit, we're good.
Yeah, England's getting involved.
We're the best.
Yep. We're winning everything. I'm exhaling my nose, walking past the TV.
100%.
All you can ask.
The BCCI has introduced tough new measures with a 10-point disciplinary guidelines, easy for me to say, to promote discipline, unity, and a positive team environment while ensuring professional standards. Here's a 10-point plan, Pezza, if I can read from 1 to 10.
You need to read the 2.5-page document.
I'll just give you the spark notes.
The cliff notes.
The cliff notes. Number one. Participation in domestic matches. 2, travelling separately with families. 3, excess baggage limit. 4, restriction on personal staff. 5, sending bags to the Centre of Excellence.
Wow.
Okay.
Didn't see that coming.
6, attendance at practice sessions. 7, restrictions on personal shoots during series/tours. 8, family travel policy. 9, participation in official BCCI engagements. 10, completion of tours. So you can't bring your personal chef anymore.
Yeah.
You've got to fucking finish the tours. You've got to play a bit of Ranji Trophy gear.
Boys only.
Boys only. It's a boys trip.
Fuck's sakes.
It's not the Indian family team. It's the Indian men's team.
Cricket team.
You can only send. You can't send any bags to the Centre of Excellence. Okay.
That had become a problem.
That they were smacking bags at the Centre of Excellence. Okay.
That's right. And poor bloke there just receiving the courier stuff. He's like, what's going on?
I don't want to be part of the Barley Nine.
It's fucking Scarface.
Drug mule. And you can only
buried his nose in it.
and there's people been travelling with too much luggage on trips, so there's a certain amount of luggage you can take, and also stop doing photo shoots during series. So, and you got to attendance and practice sessions, so you got to train as well. Mate, what was going on before?
Everyone's got to stay together during training. Look, I mean, this is classic, isn't it? Like,
oh, it's perfect.
Like, anytime an international team loses a big series, and Australia's like got plenty of form when it comes to this stuff. Like at some level, a cohort of people will call on all of those players to have to start their entire careers again.
Yeah,
like snakes and ladders. Slide down that snake.
Yeah. Yep.
Right, and start again.
Right.
Okay.
The
boys have to be together.
Yes.
You got to get to training.
Got to get to training. Come on.
no women.
No.
Everyone's together. So
Been distracted by women again.
You've lost. You have to repeat school now.
Yep.
Okay, you've got to do it again.
Do it again.
You rolled the wrong number with the die. Now, is this not, he goes like, we have all been here at some level, as in the other team's won the game. You're sitting in your sheds, whether in the actual sheds or in this case, metaphorical shed.
Right.
And you can hear them slamming garbage bins. You can hear them rattling stumps into concrete while they sing their song.
Yes.
And, you can imagine, because it's true, someone in that winning change room standing in a G-string and a court jester hat.
Yes.
Right. And you're in the losing sheds and somebody's saying, listen to that. Listen to that. You've got to feel that pain.
Yep.
And you've got your head down, looking at your boots, thinking, do I tub tonight because there's a 21st I want to get to? I'm looking forward to the circuit. I have to appear disconsolate at this loss, right? Because I'm in the losing sheds, and now I must go through the ritual sort of humiliation of being part of a team that's lost.
Yep.
This is all I just see this 10-point disciplinary plan. But this is Argus review staff. This is homework gate staff.
Right.
This is a rich organisation's way of saying get to training.
Yes.
Get to training. Let's strip it all back.
It wasn't so long ago where our, friend and colleague, who doesn't know who we are, James Brayshaw, he said to Marnus, look, maybe he needs to go back to second or third grade. You got to start again.
It's remedial class. You failed the exam, remedial.
You got to go back to prove that you're good enough to play second grade. You do something there once.
Reprove yourself.
Things happen there. Queensland's second 11.
Yeah. It all goes exactly. It all goes away. All of the trappings and accoutrements of success include things like seeing your family.
Yep, that's right. Now, in other...
You earned that right.
You got to earn the right to
see
play.
Your family. Oh.
These are conjugal visits now.
It's jail.
It's jail.
It's a conjugal visit.
They're in cricket jail.
14 days on a 45-day tour. There you go. Get your rocks off and get back to it. See your children, give them a hug, and then get back to the nets. I don't care how many test runs you've scored. Oh, you'll bring a personal chef. You want to eat good food? Fuck that. We eat the same thing. Now we win.
Chocolate milk and a sausage roll.
Sausage roll.
A rat's coffin.
With sauce, rat's coffin.
Rat's coffin, chocolate milk, get in the car. You're late. Fines.
I love this. It's such a great ritual. And because Australia's won, we get to heap shit on them. Make no bones about it. This will happen in Australian cricket.
Soon.
Probably sooner rather than later.
It's coming. The good times are right now.
If you are Indian and you are still watching this, well, congratulations.
Bravo.
Yeah, bravo. You are in you're in the 1% club.
Yeah.
Right?
Get to the nets.
I assure you, you will be able to undertake this same ritual humiliation when it comes to Australia sometime soon. Okay, and we will be having the same conversations. You don't think in Australia, in a couple of years' time, we will be discussing matters like families being around, players having a little bit too much entitlement, where they fly on the plane, where they fly on the plane at all.
It wasn't that long ago.
Managing their own preparation for a test series.
Yeah.
I mean, before the series, actually, after we lost a test, Cummins went and saw Coldplay.
Yeah, he saw
That's
Coldplay.
when they came out.
Yeah, 2 weeks before.
Mate, 12 whole days before a test match.
Why wasn't he at the nets?
And he was managing his own preparation, and he was underdone in Perth.
Unders.
Ends up being arguably player of the series, really. I know it was Bumrah, but, he did win. He skipped it. He scored runs. He took 20 old wickets.
It wasn't that long ago when the bird from the tourism ad for Australia tore the Australian cricket team apart. She was saying, where the bloody hell are you? And we're saying, get to the nets.
And that's what India is correctly doing right now under Gautam Gambhir. Now, the one thing I like about Gambhir's coaching here is
what do you like about it?
Well, he's presided over the team for 6 test matches. Or is it, perhaps that was the Bangladesh one as well.
That was the Bangladesh one.
Okay,
so two of those.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Anzac series.
The Anzac series, yes.
All right.
Yes.
And what does end up? That's
8.
Eight tests.
Yeah.
1 win.
1 win.
6 losses.
Yep.
And a draw. But it was only after the 6th loss he goes, okay, now I'm in charge.
I'm in charge
and we're doing it our way.
Yeah, that's right. Frank Sinatra stuff, my way.
My way now.
Now.
So, I mean, I don't think many people saw this coming when Gambhir was appointed coach and was dealing with people such as Rohit Sharma, such as Virat Kohli. Yep. This has been a complete shock to the system.
Yes.
And I wish India well.
Yeah.
I think this is strength in unity. What about domestic cricket? They've got to make themselves eligible. I think Kohli's played for Delhi for about 15 years.
Yeah, he's going to play against Railways. I just read just before coming on air.
Is that in the competition?
I'm not sure if that's in the Carabao or that's the FA Cup. I'm not sure. But it's the first time in 13 years he's played for Delhi. So that's, something for the eyes there for Delhi fans.
Oh, he'll be loving that.
I like that, Ashwin's influence over cricket generally lives on. Especially with the 10th point, completion of tours. That's a legacy right there. That's a legacy.
Is it possible to have a big test tour in which you lose and the thing doesn't fall apart?
That's a great question.
That's when I'd be concerned.
It's a great question.
At least if it falls apart, there's some kind of signal of passion.
Because you have to remember, Pezza, and people forget this, but India didn't lose a test at home since independence in 1947.
Yes.
Well, what was it? It was like 10 years. It was 10 years no losses at home.
Series loss.
Losses at home. Yeah. So they were completely indomitable at home. It's one of the great teams.
Unable to be dominated.
That's right.
Or impregnated.
One of the great teams that has ever played this sport in that format.
Yeah.
There's an American T20 World Cup apparently in there as well. So like it's done some things. It's given the fans some memories. One loss, in a tough place to go, despite them winning 2 series obviously out here previously. And it's like, well, these guys need to get to the nets. They need to get to training. What are they eating?
What are they bringing with them that requires luggage restrictions? Too much luggage.
Our time will come. But right now, these are the good days, Pezza.
The luggage one's good. I like that. There's some kind of logic to look, I'd like us to get to training together and come home together. I'd like to foster some sense of team, right? Because at the moment we're just like, if it's a playing 11, that's 11 different businesses basically. That's 11 brands.
Yeah.
We'll never understand it here.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to and from training together. I think that's fair enough. Okay, you got to play Ranji Trophy. You got to play a bit. All right, there's logic to that. I mean, there's not business logic to it.
Not a lot of time, I wouldn't have thought,
but I understand it. But I like that, you're in an argument with a partner, and if you have won that argument, you might actually throw a couple of lower ones in as well. Not low blows. I mean, just a couple of extra things you'd like to sort of get off the plate.
Oh, yeah, I see.
While you've won the argument. And you know what? Fucking luggage.
Yeah. yeah. Now,
too much.
What I'm looking forward to is when Rohit Sharma tours England, him turning up at the airport, realising he's overs, having to put on 8 different jumpers, a couple of pairs of pants. I've got to get rid of some weight here. The luggage weight, I mean. Yeah.
Fuck, you went hard on his PR team on the Club Free podcast.
Yeah. Let me tell you some very helpful DMs talking about my mum in there. So helpful stuff, and another good series win for Indians online there in my DMs after that stuff. Yeah, Pezza, no one's asked for this, but TGC are starting a beer.
Now we're talking. This is I'm very excited about this.
6 Points Pale, brewed for mates, son, and broken dreams. Go on, Charlie, hit it.
Yes. We got a song and everything.
Oh, yeah, we do.
This is the long version. This is extended version.
It's hot out here. Yeah, boys, hang on. Mid-December, Saturday afternoon. Sweat dripping down me crack. Hauling ass across a patchy paddock while Macca flings pies down the track. Now the day is done and the game is won. There's only one more thing to do. Let's bring it in, grab the biggest bin you've ever seen and whack it with a stump or two.
Give me 6 points, give me a cold beer, give me a 6 points pale and a song. I've never hugged so many sweaty men while I sing my favourite song. Give me a 6 points, give me a cold beer, give me a 6 points pale and a song. Was me dad there today? Doesn't matter anyway. I've got a 6 points pale. I've got a 6 points pale and a song.
6 Points Pale. by TGC. Now, this is actually a real thing, by the way.
real.
Now, this isn't like Chop King Cologne, which was not a real thing. Sure, we've spruiked some fake things in the past. This is a real thing.
Well, you can see it. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it.
You can see the cans right here. Our studio is littered in piss. Where the spirit of the game meets the art of the brew, crafted with precision of a perfectly timed cover drive. This collaboration between the Grey Cricket and Powder Monkey Brewing delivers a light-bodied, hazy brew, bursting with zesty orange citrus aromas and a refreshing fruit punch finish. Brewed for mates, son, and broken dreams. Pairs well with the post-match circuit Pezza. You can get a case. It's 16 by 375 mil for the case, so 16 of those in the case, as opposed to conventional 24s. There is a link for the description in the audio or the video. It's powdermonkeybrewing.com.au. Limited run.
They'll go.
They will go. I reckon they'll go in a week.
I think they'll go quicker than that.
Maybe that. Yeah.
It's a good beer. We had to do tasting for this.
We did some tastings.
So it's a pale ale.
That song is in my head.
The song is unbelievable. We're going to launch it on socials later today. The 35-second version, and I think there's going to be. I don't know what the video is to accompany it, Charlie, but as far as I understand, it's just going to be like just the beer in ice, pulling the camera back and just having a look at it. Oh yeah. But it's a good beer, which is what you would say if you were selling it.
Yeah, that's true.
But it is.
Yeah.
We had some alternate. Like we thought a little bit about the name of the beer.
Yeah.
Itself, we were for a while. It was going to be called Absolute Cat Piss. But we thought people might be turned off by the name. As much as it made us laugh,
it made us laugh for weeks, mate. This is absolute cat piss.
But
this isn't though.
This has been done in conjunction with you said Powder Monkey Brew. I mean, it's the guys at Willie the Boatman.
Yep.
We're really excited. We're really excited. How many cases? I mean, there's not that many cases on sale. So
no, there's not.
So it's 6 points pale.
If you fancy it and getting around it, then there's a link in the description of the YouTube or however you listen to this on audio. So a case of 16 cans, 6 points pale. Get behind it. And
let's see, like if it goes well, we'll keep going.
Get going.
Be there.
Get into the UK or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then that's what we'll do forever. We'll actually stop the podcast. So just be careful.
Just be careful.
Before we get into the Women's Ashes, a shout out for our friends at Budgy Smuggler. So Budgy Smuggler, of course, have teamed up once again with TGC, or in many ways, TGC have teamed up with Budgy Smuggler. There are no more shirts available, but there are TGC themed Budgy Smugglers in 2 designs, 2 different kinds of blue. Actually, do we have any in the studio around?
I don't think I've seen them.
No, I don't think we've seen them. I think
Charlie wears them.
Yeah, Charlie's wearing nothing but that at the moment, which is quite distracting, I've got to say. It's limited time, it's limited stock. This run is actually almost over. So it's budgysmuggler.com.au. You go to pages there, then the Grey Cricketer First Access. So it's a limited time, limited stock. There's 2 different kinds of Budgy Smugglers left. Tell you what, it's getting fucking hot down here. It's been hot the last couple of weeks down in Melbourne. And that means it's hot everywhere. Thanks to Budgy Smuggler for getting behind us, but unfortunately no more shirts available. Thanks to everyone that picked up the look good, feel good, play good, which is not how Tim Payne said it on the show all those years ago, but that is the actual saying that he was trying to go for. One mistake here, boys, etc. All right.
We're actually correcting Tim Payne's comment.
Yes.
People want us to be faithful to the comment, but actually correcting it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, Pez, the Ashes is over. Well, it's not over because we just retained it last night.
I want more.
Yeah, you want more. Fuck. So Australia is
much more.
Australia's leading the Ashes 8-0 out of a possible 16. Mm-hmm. So England can. I mean, this happened last time in England, didn't it? Australia winning 8-0, and then they won the Test match first.
They got to 8, yeah,
and then they won. Yeah. Anyway,
I think they won one of the last few games to retain it. I don't think they got out to 8-0 and then England came back. I think they won one in the last couple of
because England won the ODI series and the T20 series.
Yeah, I mean, Australia only picked up 1 each, I think, from the T20 and the ODI,
that's right.
but they won the test.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so we want complete domination this time. And it's entirely possible because, let's be honest, England is shit. Let's be honest. Let's be honest about it.
Well, Australians and the world, if you read foxsports.com.au, as I do, have been waking to headlines like this, Ashes retained, Aussies topple sloppy England as 11-year domination continues.
Oh, my God.
Or, quote, need to stop kidding themselves. Call for total overhaul after England's Ashes thrashing. UK view. I'd be lying if I said it didn't warm the cockles.
Yeah.
And then I've got a graphic up with a pensive looking Alex Hartley, wonderful commentator, former England player, who is quoted by the ABC saying, she's on Test Match Special BBC.
Yes, TMS.
She said, Sophie Eccleston refused to do an interview with me. The reason I said they were not as fit is because I want them to compete with Australia. I want them to win Ashes and World Cups. I'm giving my opinion and I've been given the cold shoulder ever since. A few individuals, coaches, players haven't looked at me.
Yeah. Snub.
It's a snubbing. It's a snubbing.
It's a Djokovic, Tony Jones snubbing.
Yeah. And so would you say that, England are falling apart at the seams?
Yes, I would, Kent.
It's another tour where it's falling apart.
It's falling apart.
In a 10-point plan.
Yeah, that's right. I can actually go on with Alex Hartley's comments. She said, I've upset them clearly. John Lewis has come out and said there isn't a problem with fitness in this squad. There isn't a problem with fitness in the England environment. They obviously think I'm completely wrong in my opinion, which is fine, absolutely fine. I'm entitled to my opinions, and they're entitled to theirs.
Cool. Always important to establish that there is free speech.
There's free speech and entitlements, rights and obligations.
Yes.
She goes on and she says, it's my job to say if I see something that needs to be better, and I did. But the way that I've been treated since, I think, is totally unfair. But they will say that my comments were unfair. So if that's the way our relationship is going to be moving forwards, then so be it. If fitness isn't a problem, then it's athleticism from a few, isn't it? So
that's good. I mean, I side with Alex Hartley there. It's so quite often the thing is the team is also entitled to brush someone if they're saying something that hurts their feelings. They're entitled.
Which
to do
happens
that.
all the time from pro athletes. They don't like it when you say something mean about them.
Well, we've encountered several players from multiple countries, just to make sure it's not narrowed down, who will regularly say to us that you just got to support the team. It's like, no, I think you're fundamentally misunderstanding what this is, the narrative presentation. Yeah. I mean, I like that view from Alex Hartley seems entirely reasonable to me. I think the outstanding weakness of this English effort has been fielding, which really is a window to the soul of a team.
That's what they say. Well, they were garbage last night, Pezza. I mean, let's just call it straight out.
Okay. And it gives me no pleasure to do that.
Absolutely no pleasure.
No pleasure to say this.
Meanwhile, serotonin floods my brain. What's this? Dopamine hits. Where do you want to start? Because last time we spoke,
I want you to read the scorecard of every single game, every single player's results. No.
Last time we spoke, there was a game where Australia hit 180. Well, I think we were on air at the time, and then England's managed 159. Yeah. So England were 8 for 125 off. So they needed 56 off 70. And then Amy Jones, the keeper, batting at 6. She finished 47 out of 103. And they weren't taking singles, and it was all very disjointed. Alana King finished 4 for 25. She was player of the match. Then the third ODI, Australia were 4 for 59 when Ash Gardner came out and hit a runner ball 102. Australia finished 308.
She's well supported as well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Talia McGrath runs.
Yeah. Pez hit 50 as well?
I'm not sure. Then Wareham came in and hit 38 off 12 or something. It's just...
Then Australia bowled England out for 222, so they won the game by 86 runs. Alana King, 5 for 46. And then the game last night, that was in the ODI series, then the T20s starting last night in Sydney. So Elisa Healy was out with some... with a foot. She was in a moon boot again. And then Ash Gardner did a calf in the warm-up. So both those players are out. This just shows the depth of the Australian women's team at the moment, or for several years, to be honest. Because you got your captain and your player of the match before out, minutes before the first ball is bowled. And then Australia just win the game by 57 runs, thanks to Beth Mooney's 75 off 51. Couple of catches behind the sticks as well, because she was taking the gloves for Heelzo. Wolfie Wareham, 3 for 25. Kingy, 2 for 14. I mean, these are Alana King's ashes right now. I mean, her spin is mesmerising.
She's unplayable, really. Talk about it later. Adam Zampa made some interesting comments around the future of leg spin and wrist spin, at least in men's Test cricket, saying he's going to find it hard to see young guys having a fruitful Test career. He said something to the effect of I'm not saying that people won't be picked as leggies, but it's going to be hard to have a long and enduring career as a leggy. But it's not the case in women's cricket. Alana King is ultimately unplayable in this series. Every time she comes on, she makes an impact. I mean, you got the scores here from the second and third ODI. I mean, I think she's bowled an absolute peach in the first game as well. But 4 for 25, 5 for 46, and then came on and changed the game last night as well. She hasn't been in that T20 side for a while. She's so you're exactly right. She's player of the series so far, even though a number of the Aussies are stacking up some pretty decent performances.
I know we were speaking to someone from SEA the other day talking about ticket sales were moving pretty well for that Ashes Test match at the MCG, which is a day-night Test match. I think it starts on a Thursday. I think. Gee, I would love to have that to start on a Friday. I feel like during the men's series, I feel like what helped people go to the games, like helped reach that 830,000, 850,000, whatever it was, that came to the matches, was like all the games started on either Friday. The Brisbane Test match started on Saturday. Like when you give people opportunity to go to the games, they will often try and go to the games.
Concept.
Yeah, I just wonder why. I wonder why they decided to start the game on Thursday as opposed to a Friday. More people would go. Surely
they knew they were juicing the decks to the nines, and they're like, "This is going to be over." In the past, you could start on a Thursday reliably, and we're like, people will get there on the weekends.
People will get there on the weekends.
Now we play 3-day Test matches.
Yeah.
Because Scott Boland hits the seam. So.
Yeah, and Vaughan's right. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, he sees the future. Anyway, yeah, but I mean that should still be an amazing occasion. But like, it's a shame. It would seem anyway that the series is not going to be alive when it gets to that point. But it may. I think the only positive now, from an Australian perspective or ticket sales perspective, is like we could be looking at a complete whitewash here. I mean, like England are falling apart here, surely. I mean, what I was watching last night and the last couple of games. The fielding is diabolical, and like some of the seam bowling is like it lacks a plan. Some of that batting's okay, they've got good batters. Nat Silverbrunt's a good player, Heather Knight's a good player, but like Australia's just so much better.
The Australian women's team looks like they're better at sport.
Yeah,
I think that's what Alex Hartley's probably getting at. I mean, she would have spoken more thoroughly and comprehensively and knowledgeably than me, but that's the mighty boss tone style impression that I get.
What do you reckon it is about? Is this too harsh? Like what?
Yeah.
Why do
you gonna have a quick thought bubble about women's cricket?
It gives me no pleasure. No, I'm talking about England. It gives me no pleasure.
Play on.
Like, why does it fall apart out here? Like it doesn't seem to fall. Like Australia's never fallen apart in England. Like there's momentum, there's steamrollings kind of thing, but like there's not like divides in the dressing room and like not talking to the media and like whitewashes. And is it because the cricket you're always a little bit more in the game in England?
I don't know. I mean, I think if we went over there and got fucking pummeled the way they do out here, then it probably would fall apart. I mean, I just think you. I mean, they send for the last 10 years, the men's and women's team have sent teams out here that have been destroyed. Yeah. Really. Yeah. So I just think when you get destroyed, that all of your plans, your best laid plans, have been proven, like unsuccessful.
Yeah, I guess that's why. Like, I'm wondering like why that happens to them, but
then
it doesn't happen
to
to us.
Rats off a sinking ship.
There was a series. I think it was when Ian Bell was player of the series, and Australia lost 3-0 in England. Maybe 2015 or something like that. Might have been the last time England won it. The men, anyway. It might have been that series. But it might have been the year when like there was back-to-back ones. But so 3-0's bad. It's not 5-0 or whatever. But anyway, so there you go. When's the next match? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I couldn't tell you.
But there's 2 more T20s before the Test match, which starts in Thursday week, right? That's Thursday week it starts, that Test match. So there's a couple of games.
It's just we're just too good, aren't we? But I personally want them to keep going now at 8.
Oh, 100%.
It's got to be 16.
Georgia Vol came in last night.
Yeah.
That's a T20 debut. Yeah. She's done the business for the ODIs and the games she's played so far. But that was just the opening because I think because Gardner was out because what's her name? Grace Harris comes in anyway for the T20s.
Well, they missed Hilzo and Gardner last night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just wave after wave, name after name. That they bat down to like wherever, and it's there are people not bowling who have got like stellar records in international cricket. I mean, I don't know how you go with it.
I actually don't know who the best player is. Like Alana King's having a great run at the moment. Obviously, Pez is the GOAT, but like I don't know who the best player is. Beth Mooney always scores runs.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a wonderful conversation to have. Who's our best player?
Is it all of them? Is it the ones not playing?
Just 2 40-year-old men on a podcast. Well, not there yet.
The Sri Lankan tour for the
that's our
blokes. That's our wrap for the Ashes. Yeah, another succinct wrap. For the blokes, hey, live on Channel 7, as is the women's Ashes test, which are at the same time. I think the men's test match starts on a Wednesday next week, and then the women's test match starts on Thursday, both on Channel 7. Free-to-air TV. This will be the first away series on free-to-air in, I actually can't think of the last
1997.
1997.
Apart from the Ashes, which is free-to-air away. But
yeah.
First time since 1997 since Australia went to South Africa, and it was broadcast on Channel 7.
Oh, was it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I remember Channel 10 had a couple of series.
Channel 10 had
the
West Indies series. Yeah, it was good. That was good. But 97. So pretty. I mean, I imagine 7 just at some. I mean, I'm sure it's business X's and O's, but but capitalising on a bit of interest in the tests, tests, post summer.
Yep.
Pretty hot to have Test cricket on free to air. Don't want to get too nancy about it, but it's pretty cool.
I hope they don't do the ads.
I hope commercial television abandons commercials.
Yeah. Play the 6 points pal again, Charlie.
I did get an email that night from KO offering 40% off.
Really? That night?
For the year.
That night?
So, which I accepted with glee.
With glee?
With glee.
It gave you a lot of pleasure.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to do business breakdown X's and O's of what any of that means.
No, it's just great. Cricket's on free-to-air TV. It's amazing.
Seen it.
Yeah. People have access to see it.
Yep.
If they want to pay.
See it tires.
Steve Smith has an elbow injury. So the injury occurred while throwing for the Sixers in their washed-out match against the Thunder in Sydney in the BBL the other night. So it's the same elbow he had surgery on in 2019, which I was not aware he had surgery on an elbow in 2019 until I read that a couple of days ago. It has delayed Smith's departure for the team's training camp in Dubai as he seeks further advice from a specialist. But a Cricket Australia statement said he was still hoping to leave later this week.
He's on his way.
He's on his way. He's on his way, boys.
He's been cleared. He's on his way.
On our way, boys.
On our way, boys. That's a skipper as well, by the way. Don't forget that.
Oh, do you reckon Heady was like, maybe just rest it, Smudge?
Mate, they're all like that for all those things, and then in public, they're like, I just had to send him a message. That was good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Perhaps more pressingly, especially for Matt Kuhneman, he had thumb surgery. So what was the game where he fucking clocked one on the thumb?
Well, he was playing for the Heat. I can't remember against who, but he was fielding off his own bowling.
Yeah.
And it was severely dislocated.
Yes. So I read this yesterday. I'm not sure if you've seen an update, but he'll remain in Australia while the surgical wound heals further. CA said he's planned to resume bowling this week with the view to joining the squad in Sri Lanka if he continues to progress well. So I don't think it's not a bowling issue. He'll be able to bowl. It's a batting and fielding issue for Matt Kuhneman.
The word is that they won't be looking to replace him. That they'll be sending him. And when he's done his right thumb, he's done his right Thelma Plum, he's done his right Bundaberg Rum, and so that's nice. top hand on the bat. Yeah. You can hide that fairly well. You can hide him in the field.
Yeah,
you can put some RoboCop stuff around his thumb, and they froth on left thumb orthodox, because it did, it does. The cupboard is very bare around that style of bowling. In Australia, like they need Kuhneman. He's extremely central, I think, to their plans.
Well, that'd be Cooper Connolly replacing him. That's why Connolly's in the squad, right? Because he bowls left arm finger spin, and he's only played 4 games, etc. But that'd be the replacement.
Not only 4 games. Cooper Connolly has 0 first class wickets
so far.
So exactly, but he's got 11 in the BBL this year.
On those spinning decks.
That's right.
I mean that's exactly Zampa's point though, right, about leg spin bowling, because left arm finger spin is much more. It's utilised everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
You look at what Santner did in the Indian series. Yeah. I mean, he was basically player of the series. You look at Ajaz Patel previously taking 10 wickets in an innings in India. You look at Kuhneman bowling in India. You look at Jack Leach playing in India. Like it just on those spinning decks, you get inside half of the bat, outside half of the bat involved every delivery. Like some will spin, some won't. LBW's in play, whereas leg spin doesn't seem to have that same capability unless you can just like the big spinning leg spinner, like your Warren, like your I can't think of the guy from Pakistan now.
Mushtaq?
No, not Mushtaq. After him,
Yazir Shah. He's got 100.
He's got 100 in Adelaide. Yeah, yeah.
You're not confirming that his name's Yazir Shah?
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yazir Shah?
Yassi Shah, does that sound better for you?
That does sound better for me, yeah.
Now you there?
Yeah, like those big spinning leg spinners don't really exist anymore, you know? It's more T20 style.
Yeah, control, accuracy, etc. Yeah. Oh, well. Good luck, Matt Kuhneman.
Pat Cummins, obviously while on paternity leave for the Sri Lanka tour anyway, he has some ankle soreness, so he will seek specialist rehabilitation advice this week and is likely to require a period of physical preparation and recovery. So says CA. The national selection panel will continue to monitor Cummins' recovery leading into the CT. That is the Champions Trophy, not the CT scan. That's a separate thing entirely. So, you know, I think we're all hoping that Pat Cummins is available for the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, like I'm sure his ankle hurts. Like, don't you know what I mean?
Well, he's on paternity leave anyway.
I'm sure there's an issue with his ankle. I'm sure they could talk about. I'd like to fix my ankle up a little bit.
Yep.
But I also think it's just like we'd probably like to be a dad as well, and he probably can be.
Yeah,
I think that
he's earned the right to play.
I think that capital is there. And what is cricket if not a game of imagined, negotiated, social, emotional, political capital, of which Cummins is the fucking, he's the sheikh.
Yep.
Of the globe right now.
Hey, should we speak to Josh Inglis and Barney Ronay?
Yes.
Before we do that, these interviews are brought to you by Ponting Wines, where you can use the code GETAFEW for 20% off all full-price wines. Using that code again, GETAFEW, all one word, GETAFEW. That's how you spell that word, GETAFEW. It is all one word. Pezza, I was just thinking about Ricky Ponting, generally speaking, and the alphadom that exists within that, and people might want to get around the wine that he's producing. It's fine wine, it's excellent wine. We've had it, we've shared it, we've laughed over a glass or two over the Christmas and festive period. But I had an email from Luke actually recently, and he said, firstly, huge fan of the show.
Thank you.
The Daily Wraps this BGT series have been fucking brilliant and on point. Loved your tap on the bum story about Ponter in yesterday's podcast and wanted to share a story about my fellow great Tasmanian RT Ponting. You were telling the story last week, Pezza, about us walking on stage and Punter just getting behind us and giving us a bit of a tap on the bum.
Go get him, boys.
Yeah.
Brick walls.
So Luke goes on. Indeed, brick wall stuff, yeah. So Luke goes on. He says, I used to work with a fella called Damien Seaton, who at the time was employed as Tassie's race caller for Sky Racing. He knew Punter through his passion for greyhounds, and one evening at Elwick Racecourse in Hobart, after some of Punter's dogs saluted, he invited Damien with him to the infamous, now closed nightclub at Rest Point Casino, Regine's. Upon entry, Damien said everyone naturally gravitated towards Ricky, including a big cohort of interested women. Punter turned to Damien as they approached and confidently said, just go stand there and I'll nick you on the second slip. Brick wall stuff, as you succinctly put it. Kind regards, Luke. Now, that's just a story that might or may not have happened.
Yeah.
It might not have happened.
It could be his creative writing exercise.
It could be.
Yeah.
Ricky Ponting's a great man. He's a family man. He's a married man. He's a man of family, commitments, and Hobart Hurricanes, and Ponting Wines. And you can get Ricky Ponting where maybe he'll nick you on the second slip at pontingwines.com.
with that amount of grace. I love the specificity of I'll nick you on to second slip.
Second slip, yeah. I'll nick you on to second slip.
He knew exactly where he wanted him to stand. Well.
Stand there.
Yeah, get the stagger right.
Thank you, Luke, for that. If that was true or not, who's to say? But it's a thing that you wrote in.
If you have creative writing stories you want to send in about people that may or may not be true, just send them on in.
Just send them in and we'll read them out. Pontingwines.com.au. Are we sure about the .au? I do this every time.
Oh, surely it redirects even if it's not.
Yeah, surely.
It's an Australian company. It's a proud Australian company.
It's 20% off all full price wines.
And where else would it send you? You know what I mean? That'd be problematic. Oh, I'm going there now. Nah, it takes you straight there. Of course they've sorted it
out.
I'll tell you what. What if I just go .com as well? Mm-hmm. Site can't be reached. It's a proud Australian company.
It's a proud Australian company.
.com.au.
Don't forget the .au. And don't forget to stand at second slip and maybe Punter will nick you 1 to second. Or nick you 1 to 2, okay?
Just go stand back there.
Here's Josh Inglis and then Barney Ronay.
All right, this one's been a long time coming. We're just talking off air. and the man says, "You wore me down." That's why it starts. It's not that easy, lifting the hood. We have World Cup winning wicketkeeper, recent Australian ODI and T20I skipper, coming to us from Dubai, where he's preparing for a test series against Sri Lanka. Josh Inglis, welcome to the Grade Cricketer, brother.
Thank you very much, mate. Thanks for having me.
Okay, at the test level, Josh, you're a guy who just appears in the media, who is forced to say at all costs and times that you're bringing lots of energy and getting in and around the boys, and you're also forced, it looks contractually, to use the phrase, "I've got to bide my time," a lot. Now, are we ready to stop biding time, Josh? Are you ready for selection?
I bloody hope so. Yeah, I've had enough of that orange bib, so hopefully my time is near. We'll see how we go.
Have you thought about, though, like if you're getting a lot of throwdowns, like working really hard on the throwdowns, like if you like nail a pull shot, letting people know, like, oh, I've just creamed that, or like maybe getting a personality of the nation and can get behind outside of cricket, you know, like coffee or golf, you know, like something like, oh, that's really interesting and unique about this guy, and therefore he'll play in the 11. Have you thought about that?
Well, maybe I need to. Clearly my cricket's not up to standards, so yeah, maybe there's something else I'm going to bring to the table to get a game.
So, Josh, you've I'll tell you things you already know, but you picked up a calf strain fielding on day 2 at the MCG, or at least that's how it was reported. How is the calf? Are you available for selection from a physical standpoint in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah, the calf's good. I think it's maybe 3-4 weeks now since I did it. Bit of a weird one. Not exactly sure how it sort of happened. Had to sprint on for Barrel to come off for his 4th toilet break of the session, and then came off, felt a bit tight. So yeah, thankfully it wasn't too bad. Rehab's gone really well, and yeah, I think I'm ready for selection. Not sure. We got training this Arvo, so a few things to tick off, but should be good to go.
What's your relationship with Sri Lanka? 'Cause I think looking at the games you've played one ODI, one T20 there, but like, is it a good place to tour? Is the Wi-Fi strong? Is Galle a good circuit town? Are people nice to you?
Galle is a great circuit town. I think after the first test, we won on the morning of day 3, and then we proceeded to have an absolute humdinger at a place called Angel Beach Club, which is a great spot if you're in Galle.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very good. It's a great place to tour. They love their cricket. It's a beautiful country, and there's plenty to do. So I'm really looking forward to getting back there.
I want to know more about Angel Beach Club. Like, what was so good about it there? Was it just the optics? Was there good clientele there? Something for the boys, something for the eyes? The drinks were good. What was it about it?
All of the above, I think. Drinks were good. It was a lovely pool. It's sort of, if you've been to Finn's Beach Club in Bali, it's got like the same sort of signage above the pool.
Okay.
So I think that immediately drags you in. And yeah, just a lovely spot to have a few.
Yeah.
You're just not going to be allowed to talk about this, but do you feel like you're close? You know, I mean, for what it's worth, I've got you in my 11, Josh.
Thanks,
you know,
mate.
no,
Cheers.
it's all
I'll come
good.
on the pod next week as well.
I think a lot of people do. You know, I think in the past, you know, most people would, you know, like commonly regard you as the reserve wicketkeeper to Kez, who has the spot at test level. But for the last, it seems to be almost 6 months, a lot of people appear to be viewing you, at least in red ball cricket, as able to stand alone as an out-and-out bat, particularly in the middle order, and you are regarded as a really good player of spin. You know, in terms of selection possibilities, are you? I'm sure you are available as an out-and-out bat, but like, have you been given any indication that that's a possibility?
I think there's obviously a chance it could happen. I was in the previous squad against India as a batter. I was a spare batter for most of it, so yeah, there's probably definitely an opportunity there. I guess it will just be when we get there, have a look at the conditions and how we want to set up as a team.
And you obviously,
I think probably be the main thing.
you would have seen pictures of Steve Smith overnight with a RoboCop arm as well. So you obviously will look at that and go, "Oh, I hope his arms are okay."
Yeah, that always happens. I'll send him a token message. Just I hope you're good, mate.
Inglis captaining first Test match all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the just with this Sri Lanka tour? What's the policy on bringing families along this time around? I know it's a hot button issue at the moment.
Yeah, they're all welcome. Clearly, we won the last Test series, so yeah, the spirits are high, and families are more than welcome to travel.
Wow!
Just make sure you get the same bus as everyone. Yeah. Josh, because I know how you travel. Like to travel sometimes with too many bags, different buses.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, sorry, that's a separate thing altogether. Hey, I want to know, Josh, what's it been like working with Kez the last couple of years? Because obviously, like first and foremost, famously a shocking bloke, Alex Carey. We all know that. One of the worst guys going around. But you're also like competing. You know, you're competing for spots, right? And like you have played together a few times in the white ball setup as well, but yeah, you are competing. You obviously replaced him in the 2023 World Cup, the greatest World Cup win of all time. Lots of people have been saying, including me. So, like, you know, but has Kez got you doing degrading things to sort of keep you in your place, like cleaning his kit, washing his gloves, that kind of stuff, you know? Just letting you know?
Yeah, all of the above. As you said, he's a pretty horrific fella.
Yeah.
He's great to work with. I think there's definitely a mutual respect there, and I think there's a bit of a, you know, you have the fast bowlers cartel, and there's definitely a keepers club there, and you always want to look after each other, even though you are probably trying to get each other's job. But no, he's a great fella, and really nice to have him around to sort of bounce ideas off each other, especially when you're going into foreign conditions.
But similarly, if he actually was a shocking bloke, there's no way right now you'd be saying, mate, he's horrendous. You know, and the more people that know that, the better.
No, you'd say he's a good bloke. It's the opposite.
So we don't really know. We're in the dark. We're in the dark. I'm
actually bluffing.
Yeah.
I will ask you this, though, like, who do you reckon's got you've been in around the setup for a while, like, you know, you've played with Painey in different conditions and different circumstances. Like, who's got the best gloves you've seen or played with or against? Do you reckon there's Painey, obviously, Kez, yourself, maybe Ben Folkes? Who do you reckon's got the cleanest gloves that you've seen?
I think Painey was like the most like pleasing on the eye to watch. Like I love everything's so clean and just looks amazing. Yeah, like I think like guys like Dhoni was just like really efficient. Like he looked ugly at times. Like he'd obviously just stand there and let the rubbish throws just like smack him on the shin, and like didn't care how it looks. And I kind of love that about him. Kez is very good. I think Folkes is sort of in that mould of Dhoni. Like, I don't really like the way English keepers keep. I don't think it looks great, but he's very efficient and very good up to the stumps.
You're hitting all the right notes there.
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
IPL contracts, England shit, and Payne's good. That's you've ticked every box. You'll play for many years.
That's everything we spoke about, wasn't it?
Well, speaking of ticking the right boxes here, you've obviously done a fair bit of skippering for Australia in the last little while. Everybody noted that Pat Cummins got hammered for attending a Coldplay concert 12 days out from a test match. When you were appointed skipper, did you have a look at your schedule just to check all your social appointments? We're going to pass the media pub test. Were there any gigs you had to kind of have a look at and go, well, I don't know how that's going to play in the Daily Mail?
Yeah, I had to order my groceries online. I wasn't allowed to go to Woolies that week. We obviously had some planning meetings around the game. So, kept it pretty quiet. Phone was off, all of the above, yeah.
How was that experience skippering though, Josh? Did you find the spotlight shone a bit harsher, or your public comments might have been received with a little bit more scrutiny or whatnot?
Yeah, obviously the media side of it, there was a lot, obviously more interviews and media before and post game, which I don't like in the past. I haven't really enjoyed public speaking, but it's probably just because I wasn't very good at it. So the more you do, the better you get. that sort of thing. So I got more used to that throughout the series. But the hardest thing about it was just like being a keeper in the team and not being able to go and chat to the bowlers. I said that a few times throughout the series. It was pretty important to have guys like Maxi and Stoyne around that they could sort of stand at mid-off and just bounce ideas off of the bowlers. And we just had to make sure we were really clear going into the game about plans, etc. So I wasn't wasting time running back and forth.
Mate, what a great summer we've just had in Australia, right? That's the men's test series was just so red hot, and you were obviously part of it for so much of it until unfortunately got injured. But the main question that people are wondering now is that did someone organise a chop for Sam Constas after the MCG or the SCG? And have you seen his DMs?
I haven't seen his DMs. I think Bias was telling me there might have been like a news reporters or something hanging outside the hotel in Sydney, and was there like, did they picture him putting a bird into an Uber or a cab? I don't know. I think Mitch mentioned that. I don't know if I should be saying, but oh well, sorry, Bice. Yeah, so I don't know whether that happened or not, but that would have been pretty funny. And I'd like to see some footage if that's the case.
But it's such an experienced team, there's basically no one's been single in the team for like 10 years. So it's exciting for everyone that we get some scandal, some interest, some love interest. It's obviously a soap opera anyway. It's so exciting for so many people. And now there's like, this young, raw 19-year-old thing we get to play with in the media. So I hope the boys are getting around him and organising some sex.
Yes. Correct. This is what the old guys live off.
That's
we
right.
need stories. We need circle of truth at training.
Yeah.
We need all of the above. So, yeah, more of that, please, Sammy.
Speaking of circle of truth, going back to the World Cup that you won with the Aussie team in India, 4 days after the World Cup, you had to play in a T20 series and you made 110 off 50 balls in Visakhapatnam. So is it therefore true to say that you play better when you're drunk?
Yes, it's fair to say that. I think that was genuinely, I just had such little care factor over that game and that series probably that it didn't matter. And that's like when you play your best, that's always how it works out sort of. So, Vizag has a special place in my heart, and I can't wait to go back there at some point. It's beautiful.
Do you remember that innings?
Bits of it, yeah. It was like tiny ground, the best wicket I've ever batted on in my life. And I think most of us were just trying to get home. So it was it was real tough because we'd won the World Cup and the boys. Like Mitch was sending videos on his boat back at Rottnest, and Paddy was off doing stuff, and we're still there in India. Like we'd been on the road for 4.5 months or whatever. It was a real grind to get over that last week, and actually a few of us didn't even make the whole series. I think we left after the third game.
Yeah.
We were well and truly in the bush.
I just got another one on Constas for you, Josh. You would have obviously received like a first-hand understanding of the Sam Constas experience being at Melbourne for a couple of days before you did your calf. Now we note that Fleet Street, the English press are arranging their like wittiest words for him. They're ready to come after him and to take him down. Like particularly with your background, with your Yorkshire background. Like, do you have any advice for him around dealing with the furious and violent British press?
No, not really. But I'd like to see him obviously open up in the Ashes next year and just pound them, absolutely smack them. Like Zach Crawley's cover drive for 4, I'd love to see like a reverse ramp for 6, first rock of the Ashes. That would be
Christ.
Oh my God.
And then we'll see the media then.
Ingo, obviously cricket tours are now just golf trips. We've known that for a little while.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of work in between, but it's mostly golf trips these days. Now, 2022 T20 World Cup, you were in the squad, and then Cameron Green came on the scene. Everyone was desperate to get Cameron Green into the squad. All of a sudden, Josh Inglis gets around to golf in mystery hand injury. What the fuck happened to your hand, man?
Well, it was funny. Before we went out for that round of golf, I did see Bales in my golf bag with a saw on my 6-iron. So I know they wanted to get greedy in the team, but I thought it was a bit extreme the way they went about it. Yeah, look, it was a horrific day. Just went out for a lovely round of golf with the fellas at New South Wales Golf Club. Beautiful course. And then, just proceeded to chunk a 5 or 6-iron, and the club snapped in half and cut my hand open. A lovely scar. I don't know if you can see it there.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And that was the end of my World Cup.
It must have been weird to come back to the hotel and Cameron Green was already moving into your room.
I thought it was strange he was lying in bed with Megan as well when I got back to the room. I was like, mate, come on, seriously. You can have my spot, but it's too far.
With Bales in between them, yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, sorry.
That's too far.
That's too far. Mate, speaking of injuries, a bit more of a serious one, but have you spoken to Cam Bancroft at all? Obviously, your Perth Scorchies teammate and Western Australian colleague, because start of the summer, he was probably, front runner to be opening the batting at the first Test match, and then just couldn't buy a run, couldn't buy a umpire's decision, and then he's out of the Big Bash with that shocking head clash with Dan Sams. Do you know how he's travelling?
Yeah, I think. Well, I seen him last week. He was in the Wacker one morning, and seems a lot better. I messaged him obviously after it happened, and geez, it was horrible to see on TV. It was an awful collision. But I think his face is busted up at the best of times, so that's all. That's healed a bit now. Still not great to look at.
It's better.
But I think it's his shoulder. I've not spoken in detail with him around his return to play or anything, but I think it's his shoulder that's the issue at the minute.
Yeah.
Last one from me, Josh. Would I be right in thinking this year will be the first time you've gone to the IPL? Is that right with Punjab?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
so picked out with by a punter with Punjab with about 18 other Aussies. So how are you looking forward to the season ahead?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Obviously, like you said, first time going over, and I think having half of the Australian population in the squad as well really helps that integration, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. Obviously, Stoyan and Maxi have been over heaps, and then me, Hards, and X are just tagging along as well. It'd be a nice little group to chill with. So, looking forward to it. Watched heaps of it as a kid, and something I've always wanted to do. So, really excited.
I'm going to ask a question that you've been asked a million times, I'm sure, but we've hardly spoken, so I'm going to take this opportunity. But am I right in thinking that your family moved here being Australia, when you were 14? They just came over on family holiday, and then you were 14, you moved over just because they loved it here so much. Is that right?
Yeah, we went on holiday at the time and then stayed. We're not illegal immigrants or anything like that.
I was checking. You almost got it.
We'd been previously a few times, and I think they really wanted to move there. So sort of never looked back since.
And is that was that weird for you as a kid? Because I mean, you were already playing Yorkshire Academy, right? So you were 14, and then a couple of years later, you're playing Western Australian 17. So in terms of the dream, you must have already been a gun when you were 12, 13, 14, right? I'm guessing. So you would have had dreams of playing pro cricket, I would have thought. So was it weird having that transition of a new dream sort of starting in your teens?
I don't know whether as a kid I wanted to play cricket professionally.
Okay.
I mean, I think it definitely switched when I moved over, and I took the piss at school the last year. I didn't really care about that, and it's probably a bit arrogant looking back that I just didn't really think that I was going to do anything else other than cricket. Thankfully, it's worked out. Otherwise, I would have been a big strike. I've always loved the game, so it was probably always deep down something that I wanted to do.
Yeah, and it just was what it was, I guess. It's just funny, being Yorkshire 14, WA 17, just such a small amount of time that did you just become a gun at 15 or something?
I don't know. I find that hard to.
Yeah.
I was always a freak. It was a matter of time. So long.
I guess what I'm getting at is like, was there a point where your parents said like, Josh, don't worry, if you come to Australia, you're going to play better cricket?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was probably the case. Yeah.
Yeah. Or such a strong back foot player.
It's a weird. It's a weird situation. I think it's obviously it got spoken about a lot when I was coming through at WA about who's this Pom, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Then like, you got to make a choice, all that sort of stuff. But I think it genuinely helped me because I don't think I had that sort of thing hanging over me. Like I've always grown up wanting a baggy green, that sort of thing. Like I think that's huge in a lot of young cricketers, and I don't think I had that because I didn't grow up wanting to play for Australia. It was never it wasn't going to happen. So it's a cool story when I look back on it, and I'm pretty proud of where I am right now, and hopefully do get that baggy green at some point.
Like, is there something else you wanted to do as a kid? Like, was there a dream when you're in England? Like, is it 3-line stuff?
Play for Punjab?
Yeah.
Yeah, play with Stoyne and Maxi at Punjab. No, I've always loved football, and that was probably my first sport as a kid growing up, and sort of cricket was second, and then it sort of switched when I got a little bit older. But always loved sport, so it was probably something in sport.
Always makes you feel good when a guy's just fallen back onto playing for the nation and captaining the country. So that always makes the people feel good. Yeah.
Everyone out there listening will feel really good about that. You sort of just came up for me, I guess.
Yeah.
My parents immigrated on holiday.
I was fucking around at school. I thought, I'll do this.
Don't worry about training. It doesn't matter. Just do what you want.
I guess I had to make a choice at some point. I was a freak.
It's easy. I don't know what everyone carries on about, honestly.
See ball, hit ball, right? Just get to it on the full, no problem. Yeah.
Oh god!
It's the last thing you wanted to do. We've just made him do it.
Yeah, we made him do it. Yeah.
Ingo, thanks so much. I bet you're glad. You came on the show after all of that harassing. Mate, really appreciate it. All the best for Sri Lanka. Have a good feeling about it for you, and that matters. And for Punjab and everything beyond, and all of your dreams playing football for England, and if you get a game for Australia, all the best, mate. Hope you enjoy the experience. A lot of people have wanted to do that for millennia.
You dog! Don't do me like that.
Sorry, man.
It's the last favour I ever did.
All the best, mate. Thank you.
Nah, cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay, it's been a little while, but we had to do it. We had to get one of our great friends back onto the show after the Fleet Street violence he chose in the last week or two. Chief sports writer for The Guardian, Barney Ronay, or I think as Mark Waugh called him a couple of days ago, Barry Ronay, because he's caught the attention of Australians everywhere with an article that 2,000 words of which appeared to be a beautiful exposition about the future of Test cricket, but also there was one or two passages that compared Sam Constas to Ray Gunn. Barney, what made you wake up and choose that violence against our pure virginal boy?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a sad time for me. I can see I'm on here because I'm now notorious and chastened, a sadder figure. Wiser, hopefully. And I have called for privacy at this difficult time in this media storm. But I think it's probably time for me to speak out. I should probably have one of those kind of voice-altering things on and be in silhouette here, given the extraordinary reaction. Yeah, I mean, it was really funny. I wasn't expecting that. I did write an article about the future of Test cricket, saying how much I'd enjoyed the Australian summer, which has been amazing from here, I have to say. I'm grey at the moment. It's so cold here. And watching both Big Bash and the India series has been amazing. I just tossed in a line about 1,700 words in, which are kind of actually a joke with Andy Bull I'd had on WhatsApp, because we've been at the Olympics and seen Reagan, where I compared Sam Constas, the reaction to Sam Constas to the reaction to Reagan. It seems to have all gone off a bit down your end, as you say.
This feels very much from an Australian perspective like George W. Bush getting Saddam Hussein when he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we got him." That's what this feels like, Barney, I got to say. But like, if I could speak for the nation, Barney, a lot of people saw what Constas did, especially in his very first innings, that first innings of the MCG. And, he was like obviously trying to combat something, and it was like so raw and exciting, but he was like trying to combat what people have been calling down here as the greatest bowler to ever visit these shores. And so, when he did that thing specifically, whatever else came after that, but that thing specifically has given him so much license because it was so exciting. And it also did like tip the series in Australia's way because it was 1-1 at that point, right? So, could you see from Australia's perspective when we've got this new young raw thing that excited us on Christmas and then England's like, no, that's ours, Can you see why that's annoyed us?
Yeah, I mean, I watched that innings. And it was incredible. And it was also, because he's not come through as that player, has he? He's come through as someone who's just a very good player. He's got runs at strike rate of 54 in Sheffield Shield, good average. This guy's supposed to be a good player. But that was a tactical decision. Presumably a lot of adrenaline and all that kind of stuff as well. But what do you do with Bumrah when he's just perfect line and length? He's seaming all over the place. You've got to do something. So it was a really good decision. But I would say that I'm warning Australia. I think the reaction to him was the reaction to that. I mean, Australia loves Test cricket and wants Test cricket to be real, and it wants this guy to be Ricky Ponting and score 10,000 Test runs, but also wants to absorb modernity and to have something new. And the reaction was extreme. It was an incredible innings. I worry that it might be difficult for a 19-year-old kid to absorb that reaction. We do it in football all the time over here. And it's a mistake. I mean, I love Constance. I want him to be good. I've got a son who's the same age who plays cricket, who thinks he's incredible and loved that innings and loved what he did. And what he said to me was, it just shows how good you've got to be. He's the same age as me. And for him, it was like he's spent his whole life living with these kids who think they're the next Michael Vaughan. And it's like, no, you've got to be that good. Can you imagine being able to do that at 19? I mean, it's astonishing. So I also want him to be Ricky Ponting. I just don't think going mental over him doing that is going to be particularly good for him. And I don't know. I wonder what will happen. The thing about him having scored his highest Test score, that was obviously a bit of a joke. But the caveat to that was if he carries on playing like that, because I don't want him to do that. I don't think he will. I don't think he's that silly. I think that was a specific reaction, as you say, to Bumrah being awesome and something that comes from modern cricket and all that kind of stuff. And obviously from copying England in many ways and trying to be like Ben Duckett, which is fine. It's good for young players to have role models and to have a system that they feel they've come through. And he obviously feels he's come through the Bazball system, that that's something that's made him, that seeing Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum has been inspiring for him. So that's good. And I'm pleased for Australia that you can take that. But what he needs to learn is that Bazballs are very difficult. Many come, few are chosen. and rein it in a little bit, maybe. Because I thought he should have batted through that final, the run chase. I mean, he scored a quick 20, didn't he? And that was good. But it would have been great if he'd just gone full in there and got 60 odd not out, and that had been him there. But it's going to be fun, isn't it? It shows how much everyone cares. I'm just so pleased that everyone gives a toss, because this was everywhere. I mean, Nathan Lyon's talking about it. David Warner has said, back off. Okay, David Warner. It's fantastic. They put it to Pat Cummins, which was really fun. I mean, he, to his credit, just laughed at it. The best thing was the Channel 7, I think it was, news report, where they did a split screen of Reagan doing her ridiculous breakdancing with Constance doing ramps and flicks, and it actually looked quite good. They did look quite similar. People were falling over doing weird stuff with their hands, and it was as though I had actually made that comparison between him and Reagan, which was not the comparison at all. It was between the response being slightly over the top. And the news anchor, I really like the one who was talking to Lyon about it, because she looked physically nauseated by this whole thing, like really like she was going to vomit into the camera lens. I don't think she'd read the article, but she would be right to be that nauseated by it if that had been the comparison being made.
Yeah, so the comparison looked good, but that wasn't the comparison you were making. You were making it to the reaction, but it still did look good.
I started to think maybe I was onto something there.
Oh, maybe, but that's not what you said. So, Barney, I think one of the undertones of the Constus phenomenon, there's a couple really. One of them is the Bazball thing, right? So, you guys, England, the verbal rhetoricians, can pick up on this and say, we invented this. This is ours. You're doing a version of something that we created, so we'll be the arbiters of how to do it and how not to do it. For example, I noticed in the article you described Ben Duckett as the most inventive high-class test opener to ever make an Ashes trip, potentially, and that his batting simply works, but that Constus waxed it in interesting ways. And there's an allusion to ray gun there, not the one that you make, but yeah. So is that a great thing to latch onto, particularly given that aside from Constus, and I think this is part of the allure of Constus at the moment, the Australian team is otherwise over 30, all partnered or married with children. They're nice and vanilla and completely, opposite the archetype that the English want Australian cricketers to be.
Yeah. I mean, Duckett is really interesting. I think what I meant by that is it astonishes me that it works, what he does. And it has done so far. I mean, it's worked against Pakistan a lot. And I love the way he talks about it. I mean, I find Bazball absolutely infuriating, but fascinating. Duckett was interviewed after one of his half centuries of the Big Bash. I mentioned at the top of the article, and he said, what we're doing is taking the ego out of batting. And I just kind of had to bite my arm when he said that, because it's just the most amazing way of interpreting what they're doing. Are they taking the ego out of it, or are they inserting the ego right into the middle of it and saying, this is all about me? It's the most arrogant form of cricket ever. It's like basically saying, whatever I do, it's fine because I'm one of the guys and it's all going to be fine and I'm so good I can play like this. But I guess it works like that. You're saying we're all in it together and we're a collective. It's a kind of fascinating way of deconstructing it. But Duckett has made it work, and I do find him interesting. And saying he's the most inventive, successful English opener to have made that trip. And I am desperate to see how he does it. I want everyone to be fit. I want Hazelwood to be bowling at him and to just see if it works or not. If he's out third ball in every innings, I will find that as fascinating as him scoring 70 off 40 balls at Perth in the first game, because I want to see what happens, because going to Australia is real. And it was interesting to me in the India series, a lot of the India players got out in the way that Joe Root gets out. There was a lot of stuff where it was just a bit more bounce and just a bit harder to play that kind of hard, very accurate, high 80 seam bowling. And England are either going to collapse or they're going to do something completely new. It is going to be one or the other. And I think probably it'd be easier to do this, to bat the way Constus did against England's attack than against Australia's attack. But I don't think he'll have to do it. I hope he's playing. I don't think he is going to play. I'm hoping that somehow my article and Mark Wall being cross about Barry might force him into the team, because I'm now desperate to see it happening. I mean, how old is Khawaja now? He can be about 40 by the time the Ashes come around, isn't it?
Yeah, 39.
Barney, we
yes.
we actually got in contact with Ray Gunn after some comparisons were made with Constus and her great dancing, and she said, you haven't won a test here in 15 years, 5-0, fuck off. So what do you make of that?
I mean, would Ray Gunn... One of the great things about Ray Gunn is how everyone in Australia is so... There's a really weird response to her. Like that we like these figures in England, like these kind of Eddie the Eagle, like have a go heroes. But there is some part of Australia that is sensitive about Ray Gunn, which is always surprising to us, because obviously she sort of sits on the woke wars, doesn't she? Isn't she like a professor of like woke studies at the geez, mate, what's going on here, university, wherever? And it's a problem for Australia that you've gone to the Olympics and this person...
That's a good uni.
Yeah, but it's like, Australia still wants to win at sport. It does. Australia really wants to win and wants to win at the Olympics. And sending someone there who's that bad is a problem. It sits on that strange fault line in Australian sport. And this person is is just not what Australia wants to see at the Olympics.
No.
Like it can be a joke, but we still got to win. And she would be a much more comfortable figure in Britain, where we're used to being bad at things, and also because we're arrogant enough to think that, well, actually we could win if we really tried.
Yeah,
we're just doing this for a laugh. Like, it's a different kind of arrogance. That's why we're able to embrace rubbish sports people a bit more comfortably, because we kind of think we're the best anyway. So I would love to hear what Reagan thinks, and probably she could write a really long dissertation on it that would really annoy everyone.
I think what you've done is, Buddy, you've sort of whetted the appetite with some war of words, which starts basically as soon as the last Ashes finishes. But at the same time, you know, for us online guys, you know, we've just been through a summer of dealing with Indians online and they just dominate the space. Let's be honest, they win those wars, and now you're piping up, and I just want to know, like, how you deal with the Premier League, where this, like, it's just the Ashes every day. Because I feel exhausted after India, and now the Ashes have started. The women's Ashes is on. Can we just have a break for a bit? How do you deal with Crystal Palace and Ipswich?
I mean, India Cricket Online is worse than the Premier League. India Cricket Online is just incredible. I know, really. I mean, there are really educated, funny, wry, clever, super bright, ironical, you know, self-depreciating Indians who I know. Who love cricket, who are still in that kind of war mode when it comes to cricket, and it's like, this is black and white. This is just it, and it's incredible. Like cricket brings out the delusion in everyone, and also the kind of the deep loyalties. You just can't shake it, and it's almost worse than the Premier League. Obviously, the Premier League is like that every day and is unstoppable. And there are, we're trying to cope with Ange Postecoglou now, who's just the most incredibly divisive figure in the Premier League, and it does remind me of that very much. I understand in Australia he's still seen as a genius, which is funny.
Well, he took South Melbourne to glory, you have to understand, Barney. So,
He is. I mean, he hates the English media as much as Mark Waugh. I totally get where he's coming from. There's a constant deconstruction now of how Ange talks to touchline reporters, and he hates the way people talk about him. He hates the way it's going so much, and you have to have really experienced cricket to understand what he thinks about this. And I get it, Ange. I understand what you're thinking. And I think you really have to have been through the cricket mill, the Ashes mill, to get that. His hatred is real and visceral, and he's doing so well to hold it in, and he doesn't get enough credit for that. Fair play.
If you wouldn't mind, you did write a lot about the future of Test cricket. I know it's a bit drier, but I wanted to ask you, Barney. People are kind of bemoaning the sort of increasing relegation of Test cricket to the margins, as the bloated white ball landscape takes hold. But then, according to this two-tier Test cricket proposal, we'd actually see Australia and England, for example, I think hypothetically play more often. So, what is our uniform complaint? That it's being relegated to the margins, or that it's being played too much? Can we find some unanimity in our grumbling about what needs to happen for Test cricket?
No, I mean, there will never be a unanimity in the grumbling. I mean, the first interesting thing about that article I wrote was how many people were angered by it for reasons that had nothing to do with ray gun. There are a lot of angry messages. Now there's a thing. I mean, cricket's so politicized and binary, and so if you say something, if you say there's not enough Test cricket, or Test cricket is not spread adequately across various nations, you're saying that you hate the IPL. I mean, that's how it works. And there were lots of angry messages from people saying, stop saying Test cricket's dying, because when you say it, it's self-fulfilling, or this isn't true. Look how it's a really, really hard thing to talk about. The fact is, there is already a two-tier Test system. It's already happening. And I guess this is realistic in a way to say, okay, you just look at South Africa. I mean, they're just not playing a home test for two years now. It's already built into the structure. So I guess in a way it makes sense to formalize that. I personally don't I hate the idea of playing the Ashes every year. I mean, I think it's a terrible idea because it's the epic jeopardy of it. is what gives it its grandeur. But I can see that that's not right, and that's not the future. It's just not going to work like that. The thing dies when you're not paying attention to it these days. If we're going to inhabit this world of eyeballs and constant energy and how quickly things do move on, that's the way to get marginalized. Play every 4 years in a sport that the rest of the world doesn't really do. So I'm obviously clinging to the past desperately. I think I kind of reached a point where I don't really care about that anymore, and I'm just going to keep on clinging to the past and saying some things about the past are actually good. And that's the reason why this sport exists and can be monetized like this. But I can see it doesn't work. And it is probably very sensible to formalize what has happened, which is that you have certain nations who are still interested in this, basically 3 of them. And you have to somehow work out a way for them to. I've been saying for a long time that Test cricket and the Ashes are going to end up like the Ryder Cup, like this kind of Morris dancing event that happens to one side, which is still very popular and lucrative because it appeals to kind of the grey pound and to legacy media and all that kind of stuff. And it's effectively happened really quickly right in front of us. Have you noticed how many really awful T20 competitions are going on right now? I think there's 4 of them. And clearly that makes sense. And that's a thing that somehow makes money. Don't know how, don't know why, don't know who's watching. Can't really understand who all the players are. But that's what the game has become because of the hyper-capitalist model. And Test cricket has to try and cling on to that in some way. And I mean, Dan Brettig, I listened to him talking on your show about it in a way that was slightly chastening as someone who just says, this is terrible, stop doing it. There is obviously sense to it and a way of building a raft out of the bits of driftwood that are left, some of which are still quite robust and not completely rotted through. And I think it probably is sensible, even if, we saw this in 2014, 2015, didn't we? And it was kind of awful playing that, and it killed the players. I mean, the players really suffered. So many players who played in that back-to-back triple series thing just were absolutely ground down by it. So we have to manage all of that. But clearly it's going to happen.
How excited do you sense or feel that the cricketing public over there in the UK are for the Indian team to arrive? Obviously, it's mostly a white ball year, but there are 2 enormous series for Australia, India and England, actually. They all play each other twice. But, it was fever pitch in Australia this year, Barney. I mean, we just had such an excellent summer. 850,000 people came to the games in 5 test matches, largely due to travelling Indian fans and the Indian diaspora as well. But people were having conversations to us about it who don't really like cricket. That's how it sort of gripped the nation during our festive period especially. But do you sense that people are really up for the Indians to ride for the Test series this year?
I mean, yeah, I think it'll be really good. You could see the Australian summer was amazing. I was completely gripped by it. And I've heard about the record numbers through the gate and all that stuff, the casual audience activated. I mean, we are desperate for it to be good, and it was good. And so that was good. But at the same time, we still talk about the fact that it's in some sense dying, which is odd. But there's a really good year of cricket coming. And I guess my article that sparked the ray gun furore was about the fact that I don't really know what's going to happen after it. It feels a bit like chucking all the antique mahogany chairs into the fire at once and watching them burn. Warm your hands on this thing, because I don't know how many times it's going to happen. How long is India going to stay interested in this? Because they're the constant, aren't they? I mean, India made the summer in many ways for Australia there, because it's not just the travelling audience, is it? It's just the fact that there's so much media there. The players are good. Everyone's interested. There's a feeling of the outside world being interested. And that 5 test series here, it happens really quickly. I think we have to get it out of the way in about 7 weeks so that we can play the 100, which no one cares about and is rubbish. And we have to get that in really quickly. And so that's a bit of a shame. It should be going on longer. But it's going to be really good. There's only 1 test before then. There's a Zimbabwe test, which will probably not be very good. And I think the World Test Championship is happening between someone and someone else. South Africa, who should be playing more tests, really should be playing more tests. They should be playing England. But everyone, it will be great. It will be another moment where the grounds are full, where it feels like this is a global event, even though it isn't. And maybe this is just what it is. Global events are quite small. It's like a massive internal market, isn't it? Which China and India and the US are telling us are what things are now. If you've got a massive internal market, that's good enough. So maybe that's what Test cricket is becoming. A 3-nation internal market which just has to manage itself. But no, we're really excited about it because same with Australia. The players are kind of old, and lots of people are going to be coming to their peak, coming to the end of it. We're essentially building a team for the Ashes during that series. You know, the bowling attack is clearly about how do we get people who can play 5 tests in Australia in a certain Bryden Cast. You know, he's just got Australia 5 tests in Australia written all over him. I don't know where he's come from. I don't know who made him or exactly how this works, but he looks like he can bang it in and he doesn't get tired. He's got tattoos, he's strong, and he can whack it. And Gus Atkinson's the same. And we're going to do that against India in preparation for the winter. And it is really exciting. I see those 10 tests as a whole, really, with some white ball things either side. It's a really good year.
Just on the England team, Barney, this is the last one from me. I mean, every England team that visits Australia always brings hope, and arguments can always be mounted for them before a series starts. How much hope is there in the UK for like Stokes's Bazball England in comparison to past visiting teams? I mean, is there, and I know this is way too far out, and there's 5 tests against India beforehand, etc. But let's just go there. Is there more hope than in previous iterations of the England team?
I mean, it always feels like there's more hope, but I think there is. I mean, the hope tends to last kind of one delivery. You know, here's Rory Burns. There go his stumps. Oh, okay. There is more hope because they do weird things. Even though I keep waiting for them to collapse and just explode in a puff of smoke, that doesn't seem to be happening. And they did do well in New Zealand, which is obviously not Australia. It's a different country, but that was kind of good. And there is a plan, and they are sticking to the plan. You can see what the plan is. Also, Australia, there's the vibe here, and this is sort of from inside the camp. Actually, is that Australia's batting might be something that can be got at, because that might be the weak spot. And yeah, I think it's there's a thing we've got. It's not we. I have nothing to do with it. England have got a good bowling attack. There is a good seam bowling attack. Don't have a spinner, but does that matter? I'm not sure it does. I think it's as close to hope as there's been since probably 2010, and that's the thing. We'll take that. And until it all goes terribly wrong, and Ben Duckett tries to ramp the first ball, and half of the world is proved right and the other half is proved to be kind of nonsense, then we'll take that hope.
That's cricket. That's a perfect summation of cricket.
That's the Ashes. That's the Ashes as well. Barney Ronay, or Barry Ronay, I should say, from Fleet Street. Thanks so much for joining us, mate. It's very, very much appreciated. Look forward to catching up through the year as we preview the Ashes for 12 months.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The first shot has been fired. There was, by the way, general just dismay among English press that, oh God, we're going to have to write about this, aren't we? Because Mark Waugh's talking about it now. So I'd just like to apologise, to absolutely no one.
Well, someone's going to be right and the other half's going to be nonsense. Barney, thanks so much.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much to Josh and Barney for their time. Great chats. Nice guys.
Yeah. Apologies for the value, obviously.
Yeah. We had to rehabilitate Barney, didn't we? After he disgraced himself in this nation.
That's right.
But he's now rehabilitated.
Just texted him and said, we'll clean this up for you.
He's actually a good guy once you get to know him.
Yeah.
Don't take him for the words that he wrote and the things that he said. The Big Bash League, the Bucket on Bonts League is happening, and we are commentating tonight, okay? Now, things can change, and they have changed many times, but not this time.
I am confident. This is happening.
Because it's happening in a few hours' time. Now, Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, yeah, as we go to air.
It's Tuesday night. Hobart Hurricanes, Sydney Sixers. It's at Ninja Stadium.
And do you know the actual Big Bash League name for this game? I don't think
Tuesday night game.
The qualifier.
The qualifier. So the winner of this will go into the Bucket on Bunts League final.
Yes.
And then the loser will play against the winner of the Sydney Thunder and Melbourne Stars. That's on Wednesday night. That's tomorrow night because today's Tuesday. Damn it.
Now that we're an ensconced part of the Channel 7 cricket team.
Part of the furniture.
Part of the, yeah, exactly. Happy to tell a story about the other night. We did a bit of promotion for tonight's alternate commentary. We went to the Melbourne Stars Hobart Hurricanes game where Hobart was Stars needed to win to make it through to the finals, and Hobart definitely
Hobart led them.
Definitely showed up. That's true. They were there.
They were there.
They were in the ground.
They played the game.
Played the game of cricket.
They wore the shirts that the Hobart Hurricane players wear.
They adhered to the laws of the game.
Yep.
They delivered the ball the way that the MCC laws require. Yep. Now, we walked into the into the 7 box. Obviously, we've done it so many times, I know what it's called. And we walked in, and punter came straight up and said, "I'm going to hang shit on you blokes tonight."
I felt so alive.
I was going to say, I don't think he was expecting me to just be aroused by that.
Yeah.
So he started backing off slowly.
I told him I was going to stand at 2. Just nick us one punter.
So mate, we are at the pointy end. I've enjoyed the BBL. Here goes the last couple of days.
It's been good.
I know we've been saying that a little bit, but I think I've had more engagement with the BBL in the last couple of days than I have in my entire life.
Well, speaking on hanging shit on blokes and things, I've definitely hung some shit on the BBL in the past because, whilst we've said many times there's so much goodwill, it just feels unders. Whereas this year, I'm not sure, I actually haven't put my finger on it, what it is, but I've just felt so much more engaged by it. And not because of a work thing. It might be because the test series was so engaging. It might be a shorter season. I
think shorter season's massive.
Yep, it's definitely helped. But I don't think it's exclusively that. But I've just watched more games. I've just got into it more. I've been more interested in it. So, and I think lots of people have been because like the people turning up, and the crowd number's been awesome. I think viewing figures have been really good as well. Obviously, the Australian Open's been happening at the same time, but the BBL's been regularly beating that in the ratings.
Well, I'd like to bring you and the viewer/listener an experience of going to a BBL game as a punter.
Okay.
Because
as Ricky Ponting.
That's yeah. Got escorted within minutes of arriving, but so my children took me to the game.
Yeah.
As a Christmas present.
Yeah.
So imagine my delight on Christmas Day.
Oh, you haven't, have you?
Is this what I think? No. Very kind of them. 6-year-olds are obsessed with cricket at the moment, which is it's a beautiful thing. But and he we live over the west side of Melbourne, so we support the Renegades,
of course,
for those purposes. And so I was taken out to the game by my boy Ted and my 4-year-old Barney, and with Ted's best mate and his dad. And I just want to run through a couple of highlights. Firstly,
you got it.
We genuinely nearly took a catch off a Matt Renshaw 6.
Shit.
Off Will Sutherland. That's while he was bowling before he was taken off.
Yeah.
And this actually it just landed 2 rows in front of us. So it was nearly everyone thinks you're going to get one like in your life, and it was we were at Cow. And I was like, boys, it's coming. And then sure enough, Renshaw, swipes one and gets all of it. And it just landed 2 rows in front. So there was no chance of getting it. This poor kid who was in front with his grandparents, he got a hand to it and you could hear the slap. It slapped him hard.
Yeah.
Ricocheted onto my boy's hip. There's no chance of taking that ricochet. But I got hands on the ball.
Yeah, okay.
So I got my hands on a cricket ball.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And then I let my boys touch it, and then their mate threw it back. It's a good arm.
I think the first thing you do when you sit in your seat at a cricket game, you think about how's the ball going to come to me. Well, that's what I do. Anyway.
You should really take them when they come to you, because if it comes to you, it's really come to you.
It's at you, yeah.
Like unless you're like leaning across people and stuff, which does happen. There's hands everywhere and whatever. Right. But like, I was close, and yeah, looking back on the television replay, you know, obviously have to do that just to go through where it had, you know, was
of course.
eye chance and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
The main thing that stood out and was my back sweat. There was a lot.
Yeah. Oh, it's been hot down here.
Big old sweatsman.
Oh, yeah, Sweatsman.
Got to see Jake Fraser McGurk make 95.
Oh, yeah, that was exciting.
Shout out to the Rooster. He's had a shocker of a year. Yeah. And came in at number 3. And there was, I thought I detected a level of maturity to the innings. I mean, you think 95 off 40-odd rocks is just, he's blasted it everywhere. And he has. But he was, you know, doing the thing where you hit a 6, you hit a second one, and then the next one, a deliberate single.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
smart cricket.
Yeah, that's right. And I was there going, smart cricket.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of repeating things, about halfway through the game, a couple of blokes, like very well-meaning blokes, he goes.
Yeah.
Love the Renegades, but
Yeah.
I don't know, adults maybe in their 30s or whatever. I don't know where they come in from or whatever, but just love the game. They'd been sitting somewhere else. Maybe they'd been told to leave or something because they were very into it, right? Not in a drinking perspective or whatever.
Yep.
Just loud and supporting the Renegades.
Just into the Renegades.
Yeah,
Yep.
and like harmless but just consistent.
Yep.
A lot of noise.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it was clear after a while, they were friendly, right? They were friendly guys. They happened to sit next to us. It was just clear that one of them must have had some level of like OCD, Tourette's kind of situation, right? Again, harmless. But the way it expressed itself was that before every single ball, he would, this is just about without fail, he would say, here we go, Andrew. And now, good luck to him, by the way. The point I'm making is that it actually got to the point where I started getting stressed if he hadn't yelled it out yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just in my own head. But like he was, so that was like one of the, it's still in my head because it was said that many times. But like, because Fraser McGurk was going ballistic and he was supported by Oliver Peake and Josh Brown hit a few bombs before and whatever. Yeah. So I was starting to create the association in my head too. I'm like, this is actually, there's something going on here. Yeah. Right? So I'm just saying this is part of the symphony of the day.
Yeah.
And to be fair to this guy, like when there were big sixes and stuff, he was coming around to the boys and they were high-fiving and stuff. So everything was harmless.
Everything was good to go.
A couple other things. At the end of the game, they send like a collection of players to all corners of the ground to do autographs because there's kids just like lining up over the entire field. 20,000 at Marvel, by the way.
Not bad.
Yeah, for a game where like the Renegades could, like depending on the result, have finished 4th or last.
Yeah. They just ended Brisbane's season, didn't they, in that game?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were 4th at the end of that game, the Renegades. But, that was very cool, and the players were really patient with all of the kids. So our boys, like my boys, got Mackenzie Harvey's signature, and he was very patient. He did every single signature of all the kids. He did every single selfie that was asked of him. Got on with the boys, and was just patient. Like you could see that they would probably want to just get off the field, but that was like I reckon about 30 to 45 minutes post the end of the game.
Wow.
So that was very cool. Couple other notes. Beach balls, right? So,
yeah,
because we're out with the punters, and that's good. You know, that's real life.
Yeah,
and it's very novel when there's a beach ball. Simple as that. You want to smash it.
You want to smash it.
You just want to belt it.
Yep.
Go 1 or 2 in. Don't worry about that. But kid wants to go. No.
Yeah.
I've got a spike, but and you know the rhythm and ritual of it. Like someone ends up hitting it too hard, they get the wrong curvature on it. The wind takes it onto the field.
People
the security
boo.
guard takes it and doesn't give it back. Now, like somebody let us know why he can't give it back at a common sense level, right? You know, I would like to know. Just give it back. Unless they're playing 4D chess and they realise that the crowd likes the booing and they like the dynamic of being anti-security guard or whatever. It's just a beach ball.
Yeah,
but
wouldn't work in Sydney.
I want to know about the psychology of the beach ball, like as in who's bringing them. Like before a game, someone's going, you know what?
Yep.
Beach ball. And like I tend to I noticed that once one beach ball was confiscated, it would only be a couple of minutes before another one emerges. So is someone bringing like multiple beach balls and inflated, like not like uninflated beach balls.
You got to sneak it in.
So you got to have the deflated beach ball, probably bring 5 or 6 of them in. Well, like that's what you're doing, right? Because they keep emerging. Unless it's like 6 different people who brought one and go, okay, now's my time.
Yeah.
And they're staggering it. Like I'm just thinking, it's a social. There's actually a little bit of choreography to this.
Yes, yeah,
that
yeah,
keeps
yeah.
coming up. But I'm just thinking, like, when you bring that beach ball, and again, if you've done this, let us know. Like you said, because they're want to be confiscated, they're not meant to be used, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like when one gets confiscated, is that when you're like, okay, now it's my time? Get into the backpack, and are you getting like sort of covered by your friends while you inflate a beach ball?
Yeah, yeah.
Orally.
I'm also just thinking, what the fuck is a beach ball? Like, if you take a beach ball to the beach, given the coastal winds, you're losing that immedially.
Yeah,
cricket ground's actually the best place for it.
But yet it works.
But if you brought that to like a Waratahs Reds game, people would think, what the fuck are you doing?
There's not enough people there to get it around. Just keeps getting stuck in seats.
Just go and chase it. Did you ever have did you ever play a game with like a helium balloon where like you'd knock it around and so it can't touch the floor?
Not with the helium balloons. Was there that involved?
No, now I think about it, why would it be helium? Because it would just, I was thinking about like it just dying. No, but just with the balloon. I used to play with my sister. Just around like the living room. Would have been like in our mid-20s.
I mean, helium balloons is god tier fun.
Yeah,
really.
Yep.
That's unsurpassable. If you ever outgrow the humor of a helium balloon, you need to see someone.
We had a bit of helium stuff in our house, and I don't know why. I don't know why we had helium tanks in our house, but we did.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you why.
Oh, so you just had a supply of helium?
Yeah,
in the house.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Doing the voice stuff. Yeah.
Oh, like out of a tank.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
So yeah, like so you and your siblings have like discovered this, and you're like, how we got this?
Yeah, unbelievable. But but you do it out of the. That's why I was saying helium balloon. But then we also just had we had balloons in the house. I don't know what was going on at the house. We had balloons and we had helium
Mate,
tanks.
you can't go wrong with balloons, really. Like with kids.
Nah.
Your mum's probably just onto it, like just aware.
Cheap fun.
Just awareness.
Cheap fun.
Yeah.
I was addicted to Nangs for 10 years after that. That's not true.
I mean, it doesn't get. I remember going out to like one days with my mates, like post school, like age 18 and stuff.
Yep.
And being really excited to like cosplay the hill stuff that I saw as a child.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time someone blew up a condom instead of a balloon. I thought that was again fucking absolute god tier. Like I was like that's incredible.
Shangri-La stuff.
Man, I'm in the Shangri-La here in terms of comedy. But like my mate blows up the condom, hits it, and then you watch it like as a child goes to hit it, and the parent recoils in horror as their child has made contact with a blown up condom.
Yeah, we used to do that, but it was with a used one.
Indeed you did.
Yeah, the first like one day I went to as an adult. Sorry, the first time I went to the cricket as an adult was it was a one dayer. We would have been 18, so it would have been in year 12. Mm-hmm. But no, we just finished school.
Did you turn 18 in year 12?
Yeah, in June. June's my birthday. So
that's a result. So you're old for your year.
Middle of the road, I guess. But so it would have been the summer. It would have been the summer we left school. So we were 18, December, January time. It was Australia against New Zealand, and we went with a few guys, and we're sitting on like where the hill used to be.
Yes, yeah. It still said the hill, I think. Which is seated.
It's just seated, And
Sydney.
the thing was to sneak in your alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Because we had no money. And so we got like 2-litre bottles of Coke, full strength.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't think Coke Zero existed at that time in 2004.
Just your Fullies and diet.
That's and we weren't pussies, so we went for the full strength. Yeah. Oh, you're drinking Diet Coke, are you pussy?
You pussy.
Yeah. And then we gave each other nipple cripples.
Or sack wax.
Sack wax, yeah. And then we had a bottle of rum.
Okay.
And we poured a bottle of rum into the Coke, but there was like there was probably like 6 of us. So it was just a nice rum and Coke. But I reckon I had that before like the fielding restrictions was done. Yeah. And the 15 overs like a brick of Bundy.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell, man. And then like I remember talking
I'm sure it never would have been suspected as well.
No.
Just a 2-litre bottle of full strength Coke. Oh, that's just what it is. Look at surface level. Mate,
you've got to be trusting of the kids,
Mate, I used to love cricket so much. I remember the first ever music festival I went to was in 1998. I went to Homebake in the Domain, and for some reason that day, club cricket. So 98, I was 13, I guess. Mm-hmm. For some reason that day, my club cricket was on in the afternoon. It was on at like 2:30. which is a long time. Like at that age, it's a long time to wait. So I went to home bake from like 11 a.m. to like 1:30 p.m. and then left for cricket. And I still remember when I went into home bake, I had like my mum packed me like a bottle of Lift.
Lift?
Like, yeah. I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
And I distinct now that you say that, I haven't had this memory since then.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember the security guard like being very suspicious about it, and I didn't understand why he was suspicious about it because he's just seen a kid with just a solitary bottle of Lift. He's opened it to smell it, going like this has to be a mixed drink, and all he can smell is just straight up organic Lift, and he's going, "What's going on?"
Pussy.
I'm there to see Resin Dogs, Regurgitator,
Yeah.
you know, and then go back to Pottery Green to play for Lane Cove.
Yeah, so I remember finishing this this brick of Bundy. It was still.
Oh, sorry, I thought you.
No. But like, we finished it before the first inning, so like it felt like a liter of Bundy or 750 ml, whatever it was.
Yeah. Shangri-La.
I was in fucking heaven.
Cloud 9.
Yeah, don't remember how I got there. We went to someone's 18th after that. But I remember talking to this guy from New Zealand who was next to us, and he was smoking,
Right.
and which obviously wasn't, you're not allowed to do that, but like he was just like doing the thing where he was like taking a dart and like putting it under his seat kind of thing. Again, like you just see smoke, like have security cameras everywhere. And I remember talking to him, like asking him like who his favourite player was, and he had no interest in the cricket. I don't know what he was doing there, but
the cricket used to be a bit like that, I think. You know, like it was just a place you went and hung out for the day.
it was kind of just, it was in town, it was something to do. Yeah, got him out of the house.
The one-dayers were always fun.
Yeah.
You know, until Jason Taylor poured piss on people and everything had to be. and then cricket went to mid-strength beer.
Yeah. And
I think that was his fault. The Bear, do you remember that 1996, the Bears players?
Yeah.
I was gutted.
Yeah.
As a child.
And I remember starting like Mexican waves in the second innings. Like going
hot again. Got to you. We got a Mexican wave going.
Yeah.
I remember going out to one
10, 9,
Yeah.
8. Oh, fucking hell. You think you're absolutely fucking in charge of proceedings.
Condobs, Bricks of Bundy, Mexican waves.
SCG, how good.
Couldn't get better. Australia versus Zimbabwe, Heath Streak. You know, who knows what's going on. I remember like going out to SCG once and hearing the fans like demand to be put on camera. Like they were yelling out at the cameraman. Then they started chanting other stations' names. Like go like SBS, SBS, and like ABC. You know, again, heights, the absolute heights. Yeah. Booing the members if they didn't.
Booing the members.
Didn't do the Mexican way.
Yeah.
I hated when they booed us.
Yeah.
Now I just want to say
French my oyster.
BBL stuff.
Yes.
I just thought it was a different kind of crowd out there. Like I don't mean to be, I'm fucking, you know, I'm cunk on the BBL here. Like, you know, an intrepid trip out to a Big Bash League game, which is ultimate in snobbiness. Like, it is the people's game. People can afford it. Different crowd, heaps of kids. It's fun. Tickets for the Hurricanes game tonight. This isn't an ad. $27 for an adult, $10 for a junior.
Wow.
You know, like you can actually do it. You can go, and that's for a final. I think that it was like $6 for an adult and $7 for a kid at Marvel. I mean, that's gateway. You know, that's actually come and enjoy the cricket, and you can afford it.
Yeah.
And there's heaps there for kids to do. I just you know, against that backdrop, when you go out and you actually experience it the way that it's been put on for you, and they send players around for signatures and stuff, and Jake Fraser-McGurk's hitting bombs everywhere, and it's very welcoming. I just thought that was really good. It was a really good thing. But you know, BBL issues in Australia will always be psycho-social because Australia is used to putting on the best competitions for things, and frankly, it's a middle-of-the-road global product. Yeah. That's it. So I'd like them to fix that.
Speaking of middle-of-the-road global product, is TGC's alternate comps, which is tonight for the Hurricanes and the Sixers. And then we're also doing the final on Monday night. So whoever playing the final, that's Monday. We're also doing alt comps for that game, and then there's no more for this season.
Who do you like in the BBL? Is that something you want to talk about or think about?
I actually like the Thunder.
Yeah, me too. Why?
It's less disrupted with so Smith is not going to play with the Sixers. That's a huge out.
No James Vince.
No James Vince.
In their cornerstone. No Sean Abbott, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Saba.
Yeah. That's going to hurt
Sri
them.
Lanka, that hurts.
I think Warner with the Thunders, that counts for a lot.
There's a narrative there, isn't it?
Like
First like leadership gig.
Yep.
In Australia.
Yep.
Post ban.
The Hurricanes, whilst finishing top, like Tim David's got them over the line a bit. Matt Wade's had a good season.
They shared contributions, I think.
Nathan Ellis is an excellent player.
Yeah.
One of the best players in the Big Bash.
Yep.
But you look
If
at the
not
team, and you look at the team, it's like it's probably not the best on paper yet. Top of the league. So what can you say?
Mitch Owens come through.
Mitch Owens had a great season. Yeah.
Sixers still know how to get it done.
They do.
Ben Dwarshuis has been player of the series so far. The series, the Big Bash League series.
The series,
that's what
yes.
I call it, yeah.
What about the Stars? You like the Stars at all?
Well, Siddle's getting clocked at 148 Ks, so...
And by the way, he's signed for another season. Have you seen that? He's going to play again next year.
Oh, well, saw him the other day. He looks like he's 20.
He looks amazing.
He looks amazing.
Yeah.
And he smells amazing. Yeah, I mean, you know, like, we saw the Stars the other night, and what do you say? Like, they have one or two players who can just win you the game.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Glenn Maxwell is the best player in the Big Bash.
yeah.
When it works.
And would you say it's when push comes to shove?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I would actually. Yeah.
I like the Thunder as well. Youth experience. Warner, Chris Green, Billings. You know, guys who know how to.
I like
get
Wes
it done.
Agar.
Yeah, Wesley.
Yeah. Bit of death bowling stuff.
Danvir.
Usually I wouldn't talk about trade periods at all because it's not really of interest. But the trade period has opened for the Big Bash. So how it works is So 10. Each club gets 10 players they can keep.
But it's AFL stuff.
But Stars looking to go and Tim David and Mitch Marsh. That'd be interesting. Something.
Yeah, those guys.
Tim David and Mitch Marsh.
Those guys in different colours.
Yeah.
I'll take. That's something I'll
Both
I'll
at the
stop
Stars?
at if I see it on the TV.
So if you had Maxwell, David, Marsh, Stoinis at the Stars,
Yeah,
I can see them finishing in the top 4, maybe.
yeah, whatever.
They've always had good players.
I could imagine them finishing in every position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow they've made it to the finals.
I mean, if people are
5 in a row, well done.
who's getting involved in trade period? Is that apart from those professionally obligated?
Tom Morris.
Oh yeah, Tommy.
Hashtag RCDC brought to you by Smith Optics Australia. Use the code FAST for 25% off your order. Plus, you're going to get a free TGC cloth gift. Now, our friends in Patreon have chipped in. When I say chipped in, I mean they've chipped into the bank balances of Smith Optics Australia. They've paid for glasses and they've used the code FAST, and then they've received a TGC cloth gift.
Interesting.
We should actually have these on at hand when we talk about them. But for people on YouTube who can watch this shit. But what I would like, Pezza, when I'm watching the women's Ashes, not enough in Smith. Some of them are wearing 7-Eleven sunnies. They've got with a Snickers and a Diet Coke.
And it's pretty clear that though they're 8-0 up as we go to air,
yes,
that they still haven't even played their best cricket.
That's right.
And you put 2 and 2 together there.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Now,
so what's Kingy in?
I don't want to say
whatever it is, but it's not Smith.
Look, Kingy can do no wrong apart from the eyewear.
That's a clear.
It's a clear mistake.
Opportunity.
It's a clear mistake.
Yeah.
That she's made by choosing that brand.
Yeah.
And many of the other players have been choosing other dog shit
It's a
brands.
kind of marginal gain that she requires.
And I just think that the Smith Optics brand deserves some symbiosis with the men's team, with the men's and women's team.
It's
couple
pretty,
of winners.
It's pretty clear that Smith Optics has ascended to the top of the tree of that category.
That's actually not a joke. That's not in question. I know you weren't joking. Sorry,
I'm not.
Yeah.
And so I think that if King has designs on being the player of the Ashes, then she needs to align her brands accordingly.
Get those fucking things off her face and get into some Smiths.
You deserve better than Servo Sunnies, Kingy. Put it that way. Come on. Have some respect.
Yeah.
For yourself.
25 litres of E10.
Yep.
And those, please, come on. You deserve
You're
better.
You're better than that.
You've been buying incredibly well,
You're not at the
beautifully.
anymore. Kingy.
And what I like at the moment, Peter, is like, Pezza? Couldn't actually say your name then.
Petter. Could have been worse.
Petter check.
Could be worse.
Is the ultralights. The ultralights are really, really nice. So go to smithopticsaustralia.com. Go and check out what I'm talking about. The ultralights. There's some retro glass as well, the retro colours. They've actually got them in like a hot pink as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's playing.
If David wants to send those over, I can wear the hot pink ones. I think I actually gave some away. The ultralights. But they're sensational. smithoptics.com.
What a great partner, and they're gonna be getting behind our dailies as well. Smith Optics loving their partnership with us. They are bringing you, the listener, the viewer, the dailies from Sri Lanka.
Yes, they are.
So you're going to be hearing more about Smith Optics. And so I guess that's a warning to players who don't have them as well. If you don't have them, you're going to be called out for wearing servo sunnies and abused until we get a cease and desist from alternate brands.
Please stop saying our brand's dog shit. Well, stop making dog shit sunnies.
That's right. It's
Smith Optics Australia is the winner.
That's right. Please stop associating our sunglasses with the provision of E10 fuel into a car.
Rats coffins and chalky milk.
Chalky milk. It's very simple.
Use the code FAST at checkout.
Close your business and allow Smith Optics to monopolise. Maybe that's a bridge too far. Wayne Bridge.
Grey Nick Socks. Hey boys, on a night out with my university cricket team a few weeks ago, us first years were made to wear full whites and pads into the nightclub. Even with my best efforts with a multitude of females talked top and even pulling out the bowling action to help swoon the ladies, none of this worked, and I went back to my room, the sad, lonely pay pig I am. Any thoughts on improvement? Pay pig being one of our Patreon supporters.
I see. Well, it makes me think in terms of like verifying the experiment. So the hypothesis is that he would have otherwise been successful with ladies were it not for wearing full whites and pads. But, so I guess one way to control that experiment would be to put a fucking 10 out of 10 bloke in that stuff and see what happens vis-a-vis ladies. So I'm thinking the thing is if I imagine Spencer Johnson in that, I don't think he's going to have a problem.
No.
Right?
No.
Particularly if he's wearing a vest without anything underneath it.
They'll say, what's Dr. Chris Brown doing here?
Oh, yeah. So if Spencer Johnson was in full whites pads doing a bowling action, he's not going home with one.
Now, Pezza...
I mean, he's happily partnered, by the way. This is a hypothetical.
Oh, just hypothetical.
With the respect to Sarah.
Just like with Punter, that's a story.
It's
a long time ago.
You're creating clearly absurd, farcical visions.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's just a universe we live in from time to time. Now, what you know this for a fact, Pezza, that my Bible is Neil Strauss's The Game.
Right. FHM.
In there is the idea of peacocking. Where you would wear something a little bit out of the ordinary as to start a conversation or have something interesting about you to be memorable to the unsuspecting woman.
The way a peacock might bear its multicoloured feathers.
Exactly the same way. You understand the principle then. I've taught you well. Now, if you lob up in whites at a nightclub, now look, I don't know if necessarily that's... means you're going to end the night successfully from a physical point of view, but you might be in a couple of conversations.
Yes.
You're going to be in some conversations.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying. You're going to stand out. People are going to see you and be like, hey, what's this guy about?
Especially if you're wearing pads. Like if you just turned up in whites, then people will be like, have you literally just come from cricket?
Yeah.
But if you're wearing pads, like if you've got the kit on, clearly you're in fancy dress now.
Now, how many times have we seen this over and over again? Guys turn up to live shows wearing a helmet and whites.
Yep.
And they go home dripping in pussy.
Yes. So, Grey Nick's socks improvement doesn't really need to come from what he's wearing. It's his chat.
Yeah.
Right?
It's his chat.
Yeah.
And to finish this week's show,
I actually dressed my children in my cricket kit the other day.
yeah.
I don't know.
How did that go?
But they loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it. And then they wanted me to put it on. I like pulled it out from the shed. Like you're talking cobwebs and stuff like that. Actually, fully decked out in Shane Watson's T20 Stars kit.
R.I.P.
Of course.
To the brand, not to Watto's fine. Watto's good. You better never.
Don't worry about Watto.
Yeah. Playing the Legends League. One of them.
Then they wanted me to put the kit on, and I've actually just recently installed a ball and sock on a string for my boy.
Yes.
And I just went and made 100 on it.
Yeah, well, it's a feature of the house now. Sam wrote in. He said, just when things couldn't get any hornier for Australian cricket fans, Pup has brought back the blonde rinse and spikes. I'll be bricked up to the end of Jan now. He then included a photo from one of Pup's media obligations, and he's got some fresh. He's got the fresh spikes. He's looking good,
nice.
Pup.
I'd get a bit out of that.
Yeah. Sam goes on. He says, my fiance has been away with the girls for a few days. Naturally, I've spent the time reactivating my Amazon Prime account to watch every episode of The Test, looking up Ryan Harrison's South Africa 2014 highlights. And yesterday, I went to my local Rebel Sport to purchase a new pill. Only White Cooker Crown 2-piece shit seeds available. A Cooker Crown 2-piece, but white. We went to a Matt Net to bowl 5 overs today. Haven't played a game for 13 years. Ball is now scuffed from clattering the cyclone fencing, which gave me the shits. And an old lady walking, her dog saw me talking to myself, turned her head to look and probably called the Jacks. How do I pass the time until the next test in Sri Lanka? I remember
that is a very sorry, mate. That's a very evocative like scene. It's
tremendous.
For me. The way a new like 2-piece from Rebel Sport that you're excited about is used on matting in a metal net.
Yeah.
And it just gets like it ceases being new after about 3 deliveries when like the metal of the net chews up the ball.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember...
I can hear the cicadas.
Yeah. I remember speaking of like old one days and stuff in that format, I remember like when the one day started back like in the 90s and perhaps even the early 2000s, but I'll talk about the 90s specifically. Like it was always so exciting to see what the Australian uniform was going to be. They usually ran out in the MCG or whatever, and then like then the dinner break would be like 6 o'clock. So I used to go down to I used to live near like a park, and there was like nets down there. And I remember one year for Christmas I might have got like a new white ball, which I'd never seen before. So
I mean they were novel and rare for public consumption. I mean, they were. They were. They were like that was sort of but that was part of the allure of it.
Exactly right.
White ball was like it was just purely for the professional realm.
Because all I ever wanted to be is like you just want to be a professional cricketer, right? When I'm talking like I would have been 10 to 12, something like that. So like you want to have like the new Australian shirt, you want to use like the kit that they're using, you want to have the new Kookaburra bat. And so like having a white pill is like, I'm now bowling for Australia down the nets.
Absolutely.
So we used to live down the street was a park and the nets down there. So I used to go down there in the dinner break and just roll the arm over after seeing Brett Lee just storm in against some hapless Indians or whatever. Halcyon days,
mate. Halcyon days. For me, the perfect rhythm of those one dayers. Because this just harks back to when childhood was good, you didn't understand the difficulties and challenges and brutality inherent within life.
Sure, Cost of living,
etc. Interest rates high, but wages high.
So good to go.
Mum and dad together, all good. But it would be like firstly, Australia wins the toss and bats.
Yes, that's
There's
right.
There's fucking no one day where Australia bowls for everything's off. Yeah. Like win the toss bat was meat and 3 veg. Seriously, and then someone would tell you, if you toss 10 times, 9 times you bat first, and the 10th time you think about bowling your bat. Yeah. That kind of stuff. Yeah. Australia makes 223, and it's a good score.
It's a good score.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone makes 50 off 110, and that's probably David Boone. Yeah, and it's good.
Michael Slater got away to a blistering start.
I'm going a bit early here.
Yeah.
Maybe getting a bit later. Maybe those scores are jumping up to 250. Okay. Maybe Callawith Run has done his thing with Jai Saria. Yeah. So it's changed the game a little bit. Now Australia motor to none for 75 or 15. With Mark Waugh and Adam Gilchrist. They're motoring.
Absolutely motor.
And it's all about what you do in the first 15 overs with fielding restrictions.
And you can't believe how fast they're scoring.
It's unbelievable.
At 5 and over.
You're like none for 77, that's good. If you're up in the 80s and 90s, Shangri-La. Kilimanjaro, Everest. We are rolling here. We're cooking with gas. And there's a flurry towards the end. There's a couple of big sixes hit,
Yeah.
And Australia finishes 8 for 252 against India or something.
Yeah.
Dinner break. Comes back, it comes hard out of the news, a fucking cold open out of the news. And India may actually already be 1 for 6.
Yes.
Glenn McGrath's bowling, he'll finish with 2 for 16 off 10. And that's
miserly figures.
Hey, and I don't know who's opening the bowling, probably Dizzy or something.
A rifle maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going back. Yeah, I like that kind of era.
Yeah.
But basically, like the other team are in the shit early, and it's just a procession. It's a cavalcade.
Yeah.
It's fucking memorabilia coming up on your screen. You hope someone takes a classic catch. Mark Waugh's just he's just he's an aesthetic. Like all he is an aesthetic.
He's a mannequin standing at 2.
Exactly. Yeah. He's Madame Tussauds. Just like, and it's fucking perfect.
It's just glorious.
Just beautiful. And like people. you can't understand any perspective on Australian cricket, particularly from people our age, without understanding that upbringing.
Yeah.
You know, Warney comes on. He's already proven that he can bowl in one-day cricket, even though people were worried about whether a leggy could do it or not.
Yeah.
Richie.
Pre-9/11.
Pre-9/11, of course.
Yeah.
You know, said that there's, people are calm, people are safe.
There was no threat of anthrax.
Yes.
In the mail.
You can hear the whistles from the crowd as well. The crowd's getting drunk. There's a streaker. The camera moves away.
Someone's got a bed sheet with witticisms on it.
Yeah, that's right. That has a Toyota logo embedded within it, and that's actually quite witty.
Oh, what a feeling!
Someone's done a poem that involves the use of a tailor and someone going to war.
Yes. Yeah.
And you've been warned. What times?
Fucking
in
hell,
Australia.
they were good. And there was 17,000 people at the ground.
17,000 people. They were the good times.
They were the good times.
That's right.
They were the good times.
And you couldn't actually watch it if it was in your hometown unless it was a sellout, or your dad could get the aerial to get Win TV. But the point is, Dad was there.
He was there, goddammit.
Yeah. That was good.
Thanks, Sam, for that question and for Grey Nick's sock. Thank you for joining us. Hey, a lot happened on this show. All the links for all those things are in the description. You'll be able to find them. And you'll find them on our socials. Hey, big night tonight if you want to join us on 7+ for some commentary for the Big Bash. And you know what? We'll see you guys on the internet real soon. But we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week.
Oh, we're back. Of course we will.
We'll be back. We'll be back. See
we
you
actually
guys.
got a little end of year celebration for our team on Thursday.
We're having a Christmas party.
Little Christmas party on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well.
Team.
A couple of 6 points pile.
Yeah.
And a song.
More than that.
That song is that song's going to stick with you. Let me tell you. Like if you haven't already listened to it a couple of times, it's going to stick with you.
Yeah. So just buy it.
See you later.